Sorry, I'm a little late getting this started up. We're going to be having some fun tonight. A lot of extracurricular things going on for sure. I'll let you listen to some music here just for a minute while I make sure that we let everybody know what's going on. Hope everybody's doing well. Give me just a second. Sorry about this. I was going to do this. I was running a little bit late trying to get everything together. Susie, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Gotta pull this over here. If you have the app, you're going to get this message here in just a second. Sorry. Tonight, interview with Pepe Willie. Side of the Times unboxing. What else did I say we were going to talk about tonight? I can't remember. I can't remember all the things that we said we were going to talk about tonight. We were talking about quite a bit that we're going to be talking about and whatnot. Man, a bunch of stuff that we were going to be talking about tonight. What else was there? Oh, yeah. And MPLS recap. That's right. So the same. Yes. Right now, audio starts at 8 p.m. on Funked Up. Okay, let's just go with that. You got some messages. Jeremy, what's going on? I got to catch up with all the other hellos now. Donna, I'm doing fine. How are you? Lisa, hello. Nikki, hello. Honey, hello. Patricia, hello. Cami, hello, hello, hello. Charlotte, what's going on? Donna, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, doing good. Jeremy already said hello, but hey, I'll do it again. Patricia, how are you? Cami says, can I share this? I'm not sure what you want to share, but yes, you can absolutely share whatever you want. Matter of fact, Cami, I wanted to give you a notice that Craig, what's going on? Big Daddy-O from Houston. I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I'm not you guys. Cami, you knew that your slime went out. Your Gold Rush slime went out day before yesterday, Monday. Went out Monday. And also, so anybody that ordered, there was somebody that ordered a Funkatopia beanie, one of the purple Funkatopia beanies from the store. And I didn't, for some reason, I never got notification that order, that order happened at all. And so I was kind of a little bit bummed out. And it was like a month old, which really upset me. And so not only did I send you the cap, but I threw some other stuff in there too. Just a couple other things in there just to say, I'm sorry. It was amazing. Tad, what's going on, man? Ash said, I wish I would have known you were at Paisley Friday. Yeah, I was there. We had a great time. Greg, what's going on? Gloria, hello. Mary, hello. Laura, hello. Patricia, yeah, we're going to be talking about the Minneapolis trip. I was hanging out with Craig there, and I was also mostly hanging out with Nick Garcia, and we had an amazing time. We just hung out. And it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. It was good. So we're going to be talking about some of that as well. We're going to be starting off with the night's going to go from most important to least important, so you guys can trail off as you need to. You know how I always do. Whenever we do the interviews, I always try to get that stuff out of the way first, and the stuff that you're actually paying attention to, and the stuff that you're actually concerned about first. Everybody's tuning in for the interview with Pepe Willie. This is going to be a great time, and so that's more important than anything else. Is the interview with Pepe, and then after that, we're going to unbox Side of the Times. And what I know that sounds silly. It actually sounds kind of a little bit ridiculous, But we're actually having a little bit of a conversation here too, because there was a conversation that started spawning. There's some people that order from the estate and some people that order from Amazon that have not even received Sign of the Times yet. They haven't received it at all. So I was kind of a little bit, just, it was little, I kind of feel bad for sure. Rodney's messaging me, Rodney's telling me he's not going to make it. He's got to watch the debate tonight. Okay. Rodney Fitzgerald's going to be watching the debate. I mean, that's all that I mean, let me go ahead and tell you, the debate starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're going to get an hour of interview first before that debate starts. I wasn't going to change the schedule because of the debate. I see enough of these two individuals on TV as it is. So for them to be in the same room and arguing and lying, it's ridiculous to me. It's just, listen to two people that have a penchant for not telling the truth, one more so than the other. Let's get that straight. But it's silly. It's just really ridiculous. Anyways. Todd says, Amazon lost my Sign of the Times set. Oh, that sucks. It's great. Karen says, Pepe or the debate, easy choice. I choose Funkatopia. Thank you. That's always good. Yeah, no, and when I say unboxing, I really mean unboxing, because when I was in Minneapolis, I got the notification that it was delivered on Friday, and no joke, there it is. Still wrapped, still taped, haven't unboxed. I literally did not open it at all. And I guess that was partly because of the fact that if I didn't have the opportunity to be able to listen to it on Spotify, I absolutely would have ripped that open. But it's just, it's kind of insane. But Thank says, I ordered it from Electric Fetus for the free shipping. Yeah, I was at Electric Fetus. It was really cool. When we went to the estate, went to Paisley Park. They had like all the different part of the videos that you saw me post there, but they had like all of the Sign of the Times stuff all there on a thing. Electric Fetus is pretty much just ridiculous now. I still like, for those of you who have never been to Minneapolis, there are two record stores in Minneapolis. Well, there's a bunch of record stores in Minneapolis, but there's two that I know of. First off is obviously one of Prince's favorites, which is Electric Fetus. But there is another one in Minneapolis called Cheapo Records. And actually, Audrey sent me to Cheapo Records. She said, you need to go there because they have a mural on the side of the building. So I went on a mural hunt, and I got I got a bunch of different pictures of a bunch of different murals. I took the pictures of the murals and then me in front of the murals. And so I went to Cheapo Records, and what was cool about Cheapo Records is that Cheapo Records is about, I want to say at least 2 to 3 times larger in volume. Well, actually, if you're looking at just albums, it's like 5 or 6 times larger. If you're just talking about vinyl, because when you go into Electric Fetus, half of their store, if not more than half of their store, is gifts, candles, lotions, purses, clothing, pipes, all kinds of different things. And then the other half is vinyl, but then they also have DVDs and they also have other things. Cheapo Records is like twice the size of that. But on the same note, what it is that it goes insane. I'm glad this dog barking thing is getting resolved before we go live 8:00. Anyways, let me see. Hey, can you shut that friggin' dog up? Let's start there. Let's see here. Hold on. I got it here. Hey, period. Can you please shut that dog up? Thank you, period. Anyways, so Cheapo Records is this massive room, and they have, it's just vinyl as far as you can see. It's like a huge room. It's twice the size of Electric Fetus, but all of it is vinyl. So it is absolutely the best place to go for vinyl. So next time I go to Minneapolis, for some reason I went there and I was on a little bit of a schedule crunch. But when I walked in there, I was like, I need to spend some serious time right here at Cheapo Records, as opposed to, yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, Electric Fetus is great. It's got some really, really good stuff. But yeah, Mary says, oh, wow, you have really good impulse control, referring to the fact that I still haven't opened this up. I know I wanted to look at the book and everything, but and the other thing too is it's kind of silly because we are doing, all these people have already done unboxings already. And so it's kind of pointless, really, to be totally honest, because so many people have already unboxed it and started flipping through it and kind of done all this stuff and different videos from different views and whatnot. And I just kind of wanted to unbox it anyways. I wanted to unbox it with you guys. And again, I listened to it. And I also mentioned this too, that I bought, and I've got 1999 right here. A couple weeks ago, I opened this up and, kind of flipped through the book. And as you can see, this book is pretty well not worn. I mean, it's not been folded back so I can look at the pages. You can't, if you go beyond that, I've actually spent a lot of time trying to make sure that, I kind of watch other people's stuff so that I don't have to damage mine. But with Sign of the Times, Super Deluxe, I'm going to do that. But we are also going to talk tonight about my Minneapolis trip and a little bit of the things that was going on with the estate, and just somehow they handled the festivities on Friday night. And apparently there is quite a bit of disparity between the estate and Paisley Park. It would appear that they are one in the same, but there's something else going on there that is, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know if it's contractual things. I don't know what it is, but there's something else that's going on there that is really kind of, I'm trying to wrap my head around exactly what's happening. And it's, there were some weird things that were going on. You had already heard me kind of go off a little bit about the fact that, people purchase, spend a lot of money on the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. And then, you spend all this money on Super Deluxe. And then the next thing they're giving it away for free on Spotify and on YouTube and everywhere else. You get it for free. You don't need to buy it. You can get it for free. The only thing, and the DVD, the DVD. Well, yeah, that's special. The DVD. Oh, no, that's not special either, because we're going to show that for free on the night before the album gets released. So essentially, you get to see everything for free. And the only thing that you don't get is the book. And $160 for a book is quite extensive. And that's if you didn't buy the vinyl. So there's that. That's if you didn't buy the vinyl. So all that being said, and then of course we had the thing on Friday night. The thing on Friday night was fun. It was good to actually, be there and actually hang out. It was just funny. It was really kind of funny because I went there and nobody recognized me. Nobody said anything to me. I was able to get through the whole entire night with nobody saying anything other than Nick Garcia, who I was actually the guest of at Paisley Park. And then, I'll get this out. And then also Craig Alexander from Houston, which, by the way, we're going to be talking about that too. Some of the things I want to talk about, some announcements and whatnot of some of the things that are going on that you need to be aware of. And we had some really, really cool stuff that we need to talk about. And just trying to, if I can just find that sheet where I'm actually talking about all those things, that would be great. I found it. So we got some good things. I don't know if you guys have gotten your tickets yet, but if you go to princedayhouston.com, it's Prince Day, HOU. You don't spell out all of Houston. princedayhou.com. They're having a big event that is going to actually be happening on October 8th, which is going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary of Dirty Mind. I will make the Dirty Mind album chat that I did a long time ago available on that day for you to listen to, so you can listen to all the songs and the history of each one of the tracks there. But they're also doing a really, really special event that's going to be benefiting PRN alumni, and it's also going to be benefiting Yes We Code, and they have special guest Dr. Fink, and it's really cool. And it's going to be a whole entire thing. It's a 40-year anniversary of Dirty Mind, and Prince Day Houston is going to be doing this whole thing. And again, it's princedayhou.com, and you can get tickets there and you can see it, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a blast. Dr. Fink is going to be there. We will talk about it again when we go live, but I wanted to make sure that you absolutely positively made sure that you attend that event, and I'm absolutely going to watch it as well. We've got so many other things going on too. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, obviously tonight we've got the interview with Pepe Willie. He'll be coming on like about 8-ish, something like that. I told him the 8 to 8:15 window was perfectly fine. He can come in whenever he wants, and we'll just, take it from there. And that's just going to be, so that's where we're starting. I'm not rushing him or anything, but I did have like a bunch of different questions and stuff that I wanted to make sure that I asked him, and I had to. One another thing I didn't do, I was sitting there watching. Anybody else watching? I'm just curious. Is anybody else watching? What's the name of the show? 90 Day Fiance. Anybody else watching this stupid show? Anybody else have something to do with their lives other than watching this stupid ridiculousness? But anyways, they have. For those of you who don't know what the premise of 90 Day Fiance, it's basically a bunch of people who. It's a bunch of people who meet somebody overseas, and then they have to get married to them within 90 days. Like they have to make a decision within 90 days, because I guess because the visa runs out. That sound you're hearing is not an airplane. It's my printer. The visa runs out, I guess, in 90 days. And oh my gosh, I had some questions. Oh my gosh, that's stupid. Are you kidding me? Stupid Grammarly. So like I had some questions printed out, but I haven't Grammarly installed on the thing. Look at this thing. Got a Grammarly logo that's appearing. So great. Thank you, Grammarly. You owe me 3 sheets of paper, so I greatly appreciate it. And I will make sure that you send me a pack of paper for your stupidity. Anyways, yeah, so anyway, they have this, and they follow like a bunch of different couples, and of course everything that possibly can go wrong with a relationship is it's going to go wrong. And of course I was out of town all weekend, and we just got an opportunity to sit down and watch the first episode of like the ending part, when they close each season by talking with each couple and kind of recapping all the horrendous things that happen to these people. And it's very funny, actually. So that all being said, I am looking forward to it, and I hope you guys get a chance to watch. If you want to like totally throw your life away, it's perfect to do. Yeah. And so I actually made some purchases too. I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that I actually bought. I'm going to show you stuff that I bought, because you guys are only on here for, I'm trying to clear out some of this time here. All right. So, sorry, it was all this stuff all this prep work that I should have done ahead of time, I did not. And so I just, I watched that stupid show all the way until I had like 15 minutes to go. And I'm like, oh, I still got to do this and that. Yeah, so mine is a terrible thing to watch. Watch, whatever. Right. So there you go. So lots of cool things that are going to be going on. We're going to be talking about that. So yeah, so some of the stuff that I bought, obviously, I'm wearing one of the things I bought, which is a Prince and Third Eye Girl t-shirt, which I really love, because it also on the back has the Hit and Run Tour 2015, and it has some big speakers as well. They had a brand new shirt that it's Craig's fault that I bought, because everybody was buying this shirt. It's a brand new shirt they released, and I wasn't going to get one, and then Craig said, "Oh, I'm buying it," and I was like, "Oh," because I'm going to end up buying it. So I did buy it. Where did it go? And I don't know if you guys have seen this shirt yet. I don't know if it's available on the Paisley Park store or not, but it's actually in the physical store, but whether or not you can purchase it online. But this is the front. This is the front, which is very, very cool. Obviously, very, very cool. Very, very cool shirt. And what's cool about it is that it actually does have, oops, wrong sleeve. On one of the sleeves, it actually has Prince on the sleeve in gold, in like this gold thing. And on the back, it actually has Sign of the Times on the back. So very, very cool. Sign of the Times on the back, Prince on the sleeve. And then, of course, you've got it's pretty awesome picture of Prince on there. So I bought it. I said, what the heck? And I bought it. And yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty awesome. So I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. And then what was I? Where did that friggin'? Oh, there's the other one. I also had to print out these questions also, because I had some questions, because not only is Pepe going to be on, but also for momentarily, Tony Kene is actually going to come on the show too, who actually wrote the book with Pepe, which is very, very cool. So he's going to be on the show as well. So we're going to get an opportunity to talk with him. Let's see here. So I got to make sure that I print this as well. Oh my goodness. Oh no, I didn't mean to print it there. All right. And I don't know, we'll see what happens. All right. So we got the picture, everything's ready to go. Anyways. Yeah, so all this stuff is available on the site. Another thing they have available on the site, they actually have again, another airplane taking off. They also have, no, it's not the 7-inch set. Oh, you're talking about somebody else. Never mind. They also have this really cool pin set that actually has, the Prince. Oops, it's got the Prince. Go the long way around. Never mind. And Sign of the Times, and of course, logo. So that's actually got a little button set there, which is actually pretty cool. And then they also had coffee mugs as well. Of course, they had coffee mugs. Why wouldn't they have coffee mugs? Why wouldn't they have coffee mugs? Why wouldn't they? And many of you saw that I had the Paisley Park face mask on in some of the live videos. I actually, I couldn't help myself. I just bought it. And I went and used the bathroom in Cheapo Records because I needed to, and ended up happening to see. Oh no! I happened to get this at. I actually bought a couple of things at the Rekisto, and so I actually bought. I already have this, but I bought one anyways. I already have it, but I bought it again. Just because it's out of print. You can't get this anymore. It's out of print. And so I wanted to give it to one of the Patreon supporters as well. I wanted to give it to one of the Patreon supporters. So all 3 CDs here of Lotus Flower and MPL Sound and Bria Valente's Elixir. I'm going to give it to a Patreon just because it's starting to get close to that time where I start sending gifts to Patreon supporters. Also got a cassette of Batman. That was pretty cool. A single of Bat Dance. We got a single of Bat Dance. That was also cool. And of course, this was one of my personal all-time favorite bands of like all time. One of my all-time favorite bands, and you guys probably could care less about them, but it's okay because it's not about you. It's about me. And you've heard me talk about them before too. I'm just kind of a little bit of a fanboy about a band called The Fix. You guys may remember the song "One Thing Leads to Another." One thing leads to another. That was their biggest hit. It's kind of like whenever it says, "Oh yeah, Prince, Purple Rain." That's kind of the same my reaction when people say, "Oh yeah, The Fix, one thing leads to another." They were such a friggin' great band, and this is their very, very first album called "Shuttered Room." And I used to have this on cassette, and I have no idea what happened to it, but I saw it at the Rekisto actually I actually got this at Electric Fetus for 50 cents, and I was like, "Oh, that's a no-brainer." Like digging for change in my pocket. Freaking yeah. So there you go, Lawrence. Saved by zero. Yeah, so I'm a huge Fix fan. I always have been. I always love those guys. And the band that I've seen the most in concert has been Prince, but it's pretty closely followed by the Fix. There's quite a bit of a gap difference, but I've seen the Fix like probably 12 times, and I'm a huge fan of them. They're so good and just create this whole vibe, and it's really moody. And I've always loved the Fix, always have, always will. And even though we're called Funkatopia, whenever I get an opportunity to review something of theirs, or I just, this is it time already? No, we got one more song, don't we? Please tell me we got one more song. Yep, I feel for you. All right, we only got 3 more minutes, and then we're going to go live here, so I hope you guys are ready. Again, tonight we are going to be having an interview with Pepe Willie, Tony Kene, who is also he's also a writer with Pepe's book, If You Can See Me, which is... it's a really, really good book. We've seen so many of these books, so many of these people that were involved with Prince's life, and they put out books and whatnot. And they don't really hire an editor, or if they do hire an editor, they're not making really adjustments to it as much as they are just kind of making, correcting grammatical errors and whatever else. This, because Tony was involved, with Tony involved, it reads really well. So it's a higher level book. So it kind of reminds me a lot of, the flow of My Taste book. It's got that same kind of, it's got good writing, and it doesn't feel like it's just kind of thrown together. It's really good and doesn't feel rushed either. So I'm looking forward to it. And from what I understand, it was also written while Prince was with us. So it's kind of been, in the mix for a little while. And, so there's that. So we're going to be talking about those things. I wish that I had made this stuff bigger, but I didn't. So it's okay. I will put it over on screens and whatnot, but I hope everybody's doing good. Lenny, what's going on, brother? What were refreshments being served at the park? Actually, yes, they were. They hired not only were they making coffee and lattes and things like that, but they also had a company that was there, and I can't remember the name of the company, but it was a catering company that they had kind of going in and out of coming out with all these kind of, veggie meatballs and all kinds of different things that they were kind of walking around. So it was a catered event. It was actually pretty cool. But there were some things that they had some issues with. And of course, we'll talk about all that stuff. Again, interview with Pepe Willie. And we're going to be starting the show here in like 1 minute. But interview with Pepe Willie, then I'm going to be doing the unboxing of Sign of the Times. For those of you who are just joining us, when I got back from Minneapolis, when I was at Minneapolis, this came in the mail. And as I said, you guys have already, come on. If you haven't already seen an unboxing, I've seen 2. I just briefly kind of saw things are happening because I didn't want to see, because I was going to do my own. We're going to unbox Sign of the Times. And then on top of that, what we're going to also do is, what else we're going to do? Oh, we're going to talk about the Minneapolis trip. So a bunch of different things. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going to be happening next week as well. No special guest right now. That could always change, but we kind of got plans for next week. So we're going to take it as it comes. All right, you guys ready? It's that time. 17 seconds. Steve, what's going on, Big Daddy-O? Steve's in the house. Drummer extraordinaire. Kicking it on the beach of Sarasota. All right, we're about to go live. Turn on the Funked Up app. Hello, everybody. How are you? Hope everybody's doing good today. Hope everybody's doing fine. Stop it. Kind of silly for me to keep going, right? There's a reason why I have to turn it down. Because if I don't, there'll be feedback, and I don't want to do that to you guys. Just try to protect you. All right. It's Mr. Christopher with the Funkatopia radio show. Welcome to Funkatopia Live. I hope everybody is doing well. Hello, everybody on Facebook. If you want to participate in the interactive chat that we'll be having going on with Mr. Pepe Willie, as well as co-writer for his book, If You Can See Me, Tony Kene, he's actually going to be on. And so they'll be coming in just a little bit, and we're going to be doing whoa, what was that? We'll be doing an interview with them. And then after we do an interview with them, we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. Yes, I was in Minneapolis. We'll also be talking about that too. We're talking about my trip to Minneapolis and just some of the things that I saw there. And we'll just, we'll have that discussion. But when I was in Minneapolis on Friday, I got notification that the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe was delivered and sitting on my front doorstep. And I thought, oh, cool. I can't wait to get home and take a look at it. And then I started seeing little unboxing videos start popping up. And I was just like, I'm sure that Funkatopians would probably want to see maybe possibly me do an unboxing. I mean, I'm not going to do a detailed unboxing. I'm just going to unbox it right here. And I have the case if you want to see it. That obviously there's a visual component here. If you're listening on Funked Up, there's a visual component that you're going to have to deal with. So you have to go to facebook.com/Funkatopia, FUNKATOPIA, or you could also go to YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and search for Funkatopia. Again, FUNKATOPIA, and just go to the channel. And you'll be able to watch it live there as well, and a bunch of different things. Lots of cool stuff coming up. Obviously, tonight we're dealing with an interview with Pepe Willie, one of the Minneapolis Godfathers. He was one of the ones that helped Prince get his start back when he was playing with Grand Central Station, and he's been working. He worked with Morris Day, and he worked with help get Prince and get just help him craft his. It's amazing. And he's got a brand new book out, and I think it's already out. I think I was blessed to get a little bit of an advanced copy. So I've kind of read that. And so I will find out for sure. For some reason, I can't remember if it's already out or not. That happened with Brown Marks too. Brown Marks book. I was lucky enough to get an advanced copy of that as press. And, so that's finally out though. So you can enjoy that. Now, Pepe Willie has got a book, If You Can See Me. It's going to be coming out. It's pretty amazing. And I know that when they did the book, actually, I think the book release came out last Wednesday because they were actually showing physical copies of the book. And it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. What are you going to do? So again, tonight we're going to be interviewing Pepe Willie. We're going to I have lots of provocative questions that I hope that not everybody has asked him. I haven't seen a whole bunch of interviews. He's always kind of been this mythological creature when it comes to talking with him, because, a lot of people he just doesn't do a whole bunch of interviews. And I guess now that he's got a book out, that's kind of changing. So we're kind of getting a little bit of a different, it is what it is. But let's talk about some other things that are also going on while we wait for Pepe Willie to join us. On October 8th, I don't know if many of you know this, but October 8th is the 40th anniversary. I don't know if you can wrap your heads around that. For those of us who are old enough to remember when this album came out, the 40th anniversary of Dirty Mind. Just try to process that in your head. 40 years ago, that album was released. I remember exactly where I was when I first heard it. I don't know if it was around the release date, but I remember when I first heard stuff off of that. I was like, oh, that's naughty. That's all I remember. But what's funny is that I try to, I'm not like a lot of people, when I had Wally Safford, who is, Wally, where'd you get those glasses? Wally Safford's a good friend of mine, and he has this amazing memory to can kind of just pull dates out of his head and pull locations and names. And he just retains all that information. I can't do that. I always have to marry up any type of memories or anything that was going on with my life and whatever was on the radio. And if you tell me what was number one on the radio at that time, I can tell you where I was. I can tell you when Buckner and Garcia's Pac-Man Fever came out. I remember exactly where I was. I was in South Carolina. That's the only way I can process things as far as that's how much music meant to me in my life. So when I heard that it was 40 years for Dirty Mind, I couldn't process. It was just too much. But anyways, it's not going uncelebrated, that's for sure. Prince Day Houston. If you go to princedayhou.com, that's princedayhou.com, they're having a big 40th anniversary of Dirty Mind with the one and only Dr. Fink, and they're going to be doing a really cool online event, and you can go, you can get it. It's going to be benefiting not only Yes We Code, but also PR and alumni, and of course, it's Dr. Fink. He was involved in the album as well and the touring of that. And you absolutely positively have to check it out. Again, princedayhou.com. You got to check that out. They're going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary. And I was going to do something. The only thing I'm going to do on that day is that at midnight, 12:01 a.m. on Eastern Standard Time, I will unravel or unprotect the album chat for Dirty Mind so that you can listen to the album chat in its entirety, where we talk about all the songs, and we also talk about all the songs, and we talk about the background and everything that was going on. And it's a lot of fun, and I'll unleash that. Because as you guys know, because of all the issues we've been having with YouTube and Facebook and how their algorithms and other things as well go with all the licensing of the music, even though we're legit licensed, ASCAP licensed radio station, it's just a nightmare to fight these guys and say, we're legit, here's our ASCAP license. And it's a pain. So we moved all the album chats behind the wall, a paid wall of Patreon. It's patreon.com/Funkatopia. That's patreon.com/Funkatopia. We moved all those album chats behind that wall, but we have the opportunity to actually be able to make some of them freely available, and we will make that one available on October 8th for you, so you can also check it out. Because also, we're also releasing another album chat tomorrow, because many of you guys do not know that the album Artificial Age, sorry, I couldn't think for a second. Artificial Age is 6 years old tomorrow. Is it 6 years old? No, 4 years old. Yeah, no, 6 years old. 6 years old tomorrow is Artificial Age and Plectrum Electrum. Again, one of those things where, what? 6 years ago. So we unleashed the album for the album chat for Artificial Age. That happens at 12:01. So it's actually tomorrow. But I've already made it available. So if you wanted to listen to that album chat, you can. Again, that's patreon.com/Funkatopia, patreon.com/Funkatopia, Funkatopia, and you can listen to that album chat today. And as soon as this is done, and also tomorrow, and I may let it run one more day, and then I'm putting the lock back on it. But you can also become a supporter of Funkatopia at Patreon, and then you have access to all the album chats and everything that we put up there. And it's freely yours. And you can listen to it whenever you want, as much as you want. We were talking a little bit about, we got another, see, again, more news. Many of you guys do not know this, but on October 23rd, Bootsy Collins, the legendary bassist Bootsy Collins, who is in a partnership with Funkatopia. We're one of the ambassadors for what he does with Club Funketeers, and Bootsy Collins is releasing a brand new album on October 23rd. I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but it's called The Power of the One, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm gonna pull up the address here. Hold on a second. We got some getting email from Pepe, so we're gonna get this all resolved here real quick too. Hold on a second. Come on. So, anyways, the album is called Power of the One, and we are going to be that comes out October 23rd, but he's having a big online party. Sorry, I was communicating with Pepe. Power of the One, brand new album by Bootsy Collins, October 23rd. See, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. And he's having a big online party called Bootsy's Funhouse that happens on October 23rd, and you can actually get tickets. We will be posting all that information on October 1st on how to get those tickets. But if you go to Bootsy's website, you can actually go, you can get you can get tickets now, but it's pretty awesome. And we're going to be talking a lot about that, and especially as it gets closer, but it's going to be up. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so much fun. And I hope that you guys absolutely positively will tune in for that show. It's going to be a live stream of Bootsy Collins playing live. As many of you know, Bootsy Collins is not touring anymore. He is not touring anymore. So you're going to be actually able to get an opportunity to be able to see Bootsy perform with live stream, and also you're going to be able to download albums and all kinds of different things. So you definitely want to make sure that you are a part of that, and just keep an eye on Funkatopia's Funkatopia's page on Facebook, and you will be able to get your information. If you want more information on it now, you can go to thebootcave.com/tickets. Again, that's thebootcave.com/tickets, and you can purchase tickets to that live stream. I absolutely will be there. I expect all the Funkatopians to come and check it out, get an opportunity to see Bootsy jam it up. They got lots of good things. They're going to be doing prize giveaways and whatnot. Plus, on top of that, you'll also get a download of the album. But they got all kinds of really cool stuff like T-shirts and all types of things. So it is absolutely positively going to be coming, and I hope you will enjoy that. Next week, we are going to be. This is the last announcement, and then of course we'll bring Pepe on. Pepe, I guess I had to send him the link so that he can come back on. So we are going to get Pepe on momentarily, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. We got all night. We're good. It's going to be fine. He's not under a time crunch, and I hope you're not under a time crunch either. We're going to be just enjoying ourselves and just hanging out and whatnot. So anyways, next week, I was kind of debating what I was going to be doing is, I think I told somebody that I wanted to do a Maserati album chat next week, but I would like to get somebody involved from Maserati into that mix. And I thought about maybe possibly doing an album chat with Jesse Johnson's Review. I thought about doing an album chat for Maserati, but right now there is so much interest in Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. And there are, close to 3 CDs full of unreleased songs. There's some songs that we have heard before that are just different versions, like Crystal Ball. We've heard that song, but this is a 7-inch remix. But there are a bunch of different tracks that are on that CD that people have never heard before. So I thought, and I'm going to leave this up to you. Would you like for me to do, Jesse Johnson's Review instead? Would you like for me to do an album chat on the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe and start it can't just fit into one show. There's like 40 something songs. It's just not friggin' possible, but we can at least start the process and do a Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Part 1, and maybe talk about the first dozen songs maybe, and just kind of break it apart like that. Maybe do a 3-parter where we do a dozen songs. It's up to you. So I will let you guys decide. You guys tell me Maserati, or tell me Jesse Johnson's Review, or tell me Sign of the Times. If you want Sign of the Times, we got it. We already did a album chat for Sign of the Times. We already did one, but we have not. Sorry, I get more emails that are coming in here. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play a song from, we're going to play America here. This is a pretty relatively short song, so I can go ahead and answer some of these emails here and make sure that everything is good to go. And we'll take it from there. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to get Pepe Willie on, and then I will let you guys talk amongst yourselves about whether or not what album chat that you want next week. Here you go, America on the Funkatopia Radio Show, and we'll be right back. Give me a second, guys. And I'm pretty sure that's the correct one. Let me make sure. Yep, we got it. All right, so we're just going to wait and just see what happens. Oh, he's here. All right. All right, let's bring him on for you guys here, for you fine folks here. Pepe, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, I'm just doing my job and what I'm supposed to do. I don't know,
I think your manager is on vacation, I guess.
Yeah.
And I sent her an email and I said, hey, just making sure everything's okay. Here's the link and whatnot. And then I got an automatic kickback. And then I sent an email to Marcy, and so we're here. We're good. Yeah. We're good. We're good.
All right, so we're good. So how you
We are
feeling
good.
these days, baby?
I'm feeling great. We decided to put a song on. So it was a little short 3-minute song. We got 2.5 minutes, and then we're going to go live. But you are live right now with a bunch of different people here. I know you probably can't see the conversation here, but you got all these people that are talking that want to say hello. Susan Mella says
hi
Pepe
from Boston.
Yeah, and here's Jill Norman wants to say hello. Of course, we know Jill. And there's who else we got here? Cammy wants to say hello. All these folks.
What's up?
Yeah, all these people that are in here wanted to say. There's Sina, she's in there.
Hey, what's going on?
That's Susan. Look at that smile. Jeremy, I'm trying to catch up with you guys. Jeremy is over there. Let's see.
Oh, don't call me Mr. Willie. No. Call Mr. Christopher, but call me Pepe. You know.
Oh man, I am trying to get all these hellos up here, and Eddie's saying hello, and Lenny's saying hello, and
wow, awesome.
Mailing Stone Pool, Mailing. You guys remember Mailing?
I love it. Thank you guys so much. Yeah.
There's man, all these people here. Lisa and who else we got over here? Blessing.
Wow.
There's Mr. Willie again. Remember, he said no. He said no. There's Susan and there's Donna, Arlene. See, I'm trying to keep up with all you guys, man. But Cammy said she talked to you a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Tanya says hello, and you got some shout outs from Prince Army Canada's here. Wow. Eva's here. Andre's here. All these folks are here.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, man. There's like tons of people. My apologies to all you folks who were saying hello, but like this scroll is going like this, and I'm trying my best to keep up with everything.
Well, good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. We got some questions lined up for you. And I was trying to be provocative, but at the same time, I'm trying to kind of keep a balance. I don't want you to get in trouble. And I heard you made journalists at some point in time. I don't know if let's see what we got. All right, so we got 8 seconds. Here we go. I'm not gonna have time to drink anything. It's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a quick little break there with a little bit of America, and just so we can kind of get everything situated. And it was my honor. Like he's like a mythical figure in Minneapolis for sure, and he is one of the most respected, artists and producers and just all around musicians helper, so to speak. Yeah. Mr. Pepe Willie is in the house. How are you, man?
What's up, Funktopia? Is it Funktopians? Those are your fans?
Funkatopians, yep, that's what they are.
Funkatopians. What's up, baby?
And look who's in the house. Chaz Smith saying hello.
Hey, Chaz, what's up, baby? I'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, Chaz is in the house too. So we got a bunch of folks in the house, and oh my gosh. So it's it's such an honor to kind of get you on board, and until the book came out, I think I tried to reach out to you a couple of times to have you on the show, but I think you were just kind of keeping quiet and just kind of keeping on the down low. Was that intentional? Where?
I probably was in Nevada if it was cold here.
I don't blame you. So you're like, so instead of being a snowbird and going down to Florida, you go west, is what you're saying.
I go west, but I also have a place in Florida where I go to, a golf trip that I go with some of my buddies.
So where do you golf down there?
Orlando.
Oh yeah, Orlando's got a lot of nice golf courses.
Yeah, that's right.
Those are the ones that have like the Mickey Mouse.
That's right.
Now you have so many different travels and whatnot. It's just shocking to me. I mean, when I think about all the stuff that you did, firsthand travels and work with, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder and Jackie Wilson, The Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
Don't forget Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Absolutely. Little Anthony and the Imperials for absolute positive, sure, which is what started all this, because your uncle was in the mix. right?
Yeah,
So
he's the founding member of Little Anthony and the Imperials. Yeah.
right, and I guess what is it like to kind of? I mean, obviously you got in young, but what is it like
Yeah.
to be surrounded by all of that greatness all at the same time? It's got to just be overwhelming.
Oh, let me tell you. Well, first of all, it was just I couldn't believe it myself. I could not believe it. But I knew at that point when I seen all of these stars together on the stage, you know, everybody on the same show, I said, oh man, this is what I want to do in business. This is what I want to do. When I first met Chubby Checker, because my uncle had said to me, I was on my first rock and roll show at the Paramount Theater in Brooklyn, right across from Junior's, famous for cheesecake. And he said to me, I was running to the store for these guys. I didn't know what to do. And he says, hey, go knock on some of these stars' doors and see if they want something. And I went like, oh, okay. You know, I'm 15. And I went to the first star door I went to. I didn't even know who was in there. I knocked on the door. And he says, yeah, come on in. I opened the door and it's Mr. Twist, Chubby Checker. I said, oh my God, Chubby Checker. I wasn't in awe or anything like that. I didn't go like, oh shoot, Chubby Checker. I just said, do you want anything from the store? And he goes like, yeah, man, go get me a pack of cigarettes, some Salem cigarettes and stuff, you know. And that's how it all started. It was unbelievable. And then that following year from the Brooklyn Paramount, we moved over to the Brooklyn Fox Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they had the whole Motown review there. I mean, everybody from Marvin Gaye to Stevie Wonder, the Marvelettes, the Miracles, Four Tops, Temptation, Supremes. I mean, everybody. Then they also had like Patti LaBelle, Dionne Warwick, Wayne Newton, the Righteous Brothers, Sam and Dave. I mean, it was just a plethora of artists there. And I just got used to it. I just got used to that life.
You know, and a lot of and just like you said, it's like one of those things where you start out really, you know, kind of a little bit awestruck, but then you get into, because I still remember the first time that I was ever just totally just dumbfounded, where your tongue doesn't work and your brain's going nuts when you're standing in front of somebody. And I already talked about this band earlier on a thing, but it was you've probably never heard of them, but it's a new wave band from the 80s called The Fix.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was a huge fan of them. And I'd got an opportunity to meet him, and it wasn't even in front of them. It was on a phone, and I called into a radio station, and they picked up, and I was just like, I can't. Oh my God! I was just, you know, and I wasn't even in front of them. I was just talking to them on the phone, and it was just. What was that moment for you? Who was that first star where you're just like,
Well, it was Jimi Hendrix. Okay.
Oh yeah, I read that was amazing.
I mean, look, I had met Ike and Tina Turner during that time. I drank champagne with Adam Clayton Powell, you know, the senator. But when I saw Jimi Hendrix, it was like I was poking my uncle. He was right next to me, and I was poking him with my elbow, and he going like what? What are you doing? What do you want? And I said, "This is Jimi Hendrix, man, Jimi Hendrix." He says, "Where?" I said, "Right over there." And he says, "Oh," he said, "Do you want to meet him?" And I went like, "Yeah, I want to meet him." And he says, "Hey, Jimmy." Jimmy yelled back, "Hey, Clarence, what's up, man?" Now, my uncle knew Jimi Hendrix when Jimmy was carrying his guitar in a pillowcase. Okay.
Really?
Those guys were a long way. I was in awe when I met this guy. He came and he sat with us. He talked with us. And another star that I met in Las Vegas, Elvis Presley.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Now,
and at that time, he was the biggest star of the planet.
Oh, he was, you know, and I've seen all of these people, you know, all these stars in my life. And we were at the Circus. Dick Clark was doing his show there. Jackie Wilson had just finished his set, and he was getting ready to introduce the next act. So Dick Clark comes out, and he looks up and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, the king. And I turned around and I looked and I went like, and it was Elvis. He was standing there. He had his shades on and he had two giant bodyguards standing next to him, each side of him. And he took off his glasses like this. He just snatched them off and he stood there like this. And I went like,
you posed? He did a pose?
Yeah, he posed. And in my brain, I was going like, now that's a star.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
And I was sitting with Louise Goulet, Robert Goulet's ex-wife, and his daughter, Nikki, and another friend of mine, Andy. And Elvis comes down the aisle and he sees Louise and he goes, "Oh, hi, Louise." And he sat down right there and I got introduced to Elvis and he sat there and he talked with us for a while and I was like awestruck. I don't even think I said 2 words with him except for how you doing, you know, that type of thing.
That's amazing.
He was a star. He was a star. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember in the book you were talking about meeting Jimi Hendrix, and you said that when he shook your hands, his you couldn't. His hands were like huge.
They and I have big hands, and his head wrapped around mine, just wrapped around mine, and that's all that I could remember. There's his hands.
Some of these guys, like there's a band called King's X, and the guy that plays bass in front of his name is Doug Pinnick, and he was the same way when I met him. You know, you look at him and, you know, he seems unassuming, and then you meet him and he shakes your hand and he's got these, it's just huge. It's just, what is going on? Unbelievable. Yeah. So, I mean, for those who are just joining us, we are joined by the illustrious Mr. Pepe Willie, who has an amazing career in music, and he was just in the right place at the right time, and just things just kind of worked well. You know, God has plans that way. You know, he kind of puts you in certain positions, and he puts you in front of certain people, and it just kind of happens that way. You know, and it was just kind of one of those situations where, you know, I had to think, for those who are not aware, you know, you were able to get in that position because your uncle, Clarence Collins, was one of the founding members of Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Correct.
And have you ever thought about what your life may have looked like if your uncle hadn't pulled you under his wing?
I wouldn't be here talking to you. I tell you that right now.
So maybe you might.
In Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy, and their motto is Bed-Stuy, do or die. I would have been died.
Oh man,
I'm telling you.
Well, I'm glad it ended up working out. You know, a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are asking questions, and I do see all of your questions, and I'm trying to like make notations of a lot of these different things, and somebody was saying, Denise here there was another question. There's a lot of questions about Prince, obviously. And people were saying, when was the last time that you saw Prince? And we could start up there. But we're going to get into these stories. We're kind of just like your book. We're kind of working towards the story. But before we get into all that, we do actually have another guest to actually bring in, who is the gentleman who helped you write this book. And I'm going to bring him on because Tony is amazing. So I'm going to add Tony into the mix as well to join us for a little bit. Tony, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Mr. Christopher. Hey, Pep.
What's up, baby?
How you doing?
Did you get a haircut?
No, not for about 7 months now.
He just combed it back. That's what we always say. I watched it.
Hey, Mr. Christopher, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. It's an honor.
Well, I got to tell you, Tony, you know, there are so many people who are, you know, that were affiliated with Prince that felt the need to write a book. And there's some people that, you know, it's warranted. Like in Pepe's case, it's absolutely warranted that he writes a book, because it's not just the story about Prince. There's so much more to it. Right. And so much more to his story than just the Prince portion of it. It's not just the Prince portion of it. But the other thing that's really impressive to me is the way that it flows and the way that it reads. And you don't, you know, some of these other people that write books, it's just not, it's difficult to read. And maybe they bring an editor on just to kind of repair grammatical errors, and that's the extent of it. There was a lot of, you could tell that your involvement and just everything in it, and the way that you two worked together, the way that Pepe communicates the stories and kind of, fleshes out the stories, and the way that you kind of, tell it is just so friggin' well done. It's just an amazing read. So first off, amazing job. How long have you been working on this book?
Well, first of all, let me just say this first. Tony was relentless. Relentless, man. I'm telling you.
That's what you pay
Some days I didn't even want to work on this stuff, and Tony's going like, I finished this chapter here, you better look at it, But yeah, we couldn't have did this without Tony. I'm telling you that right now,
So, Tony, give me a little bit of background about, well, first off, how long did you work on this book? That was the original question.
Well, the book is really probably 20 years in the making.
Yeah.
When I first met Pepe, and we can get into that, that's a story unto itself. But we talked about it really not long after we met. This would have been the late 90s.
Yeah. And at Paisley Park, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And
go ahead and tell that story. I mean, we got time. These people are dying to hear those stories.
Tell the story, Tony.
Because there's a lot of people that don't know this, and the story of your story marries mine like almost to a T, as far as like how we both got obsessed with Prince, and we kind of felt like we had to like find out every little detail, and was trying to be wherever anything was happening. And but yet absolutely tell the story about when you went to Paisley Park and how you met Pepe.
Well, let's go back a little bit, if we can, then to how I discovered Prince, because it really there's a lot of similarities between that and how I learned about Pepe and how I became a fan of Pepe's. And I would have been not quite 8 years old. And I had one record to my collection. It was the Jackson 5 dancing machine. And I just played it nonstop. I just loved it. And I was over at a friend's house, and I'm looking at his desk in his bedroom, and he's got it's Prince's first album, For You, on 8-track tape. And nobody knew who Prince was then. This is maybe 3-4 months after the album came out. And my friend certainly didn't know who he was. He just got the 8-track as a gift, I think, from his grandmother, his aunt, or somebody. And I just remember looking at the image of the album.
And I want to make sure that people heard that. I took myself out of the picture so they could focus on you and not me just sitting here. So, I don't want you guys to get freaked out, because sometimes I was interviewing, I can't remember who I was interviewing, and they were like, I need to see you on the picture frame because I think I'm disconnected. You're not disconnected.
Okay. But I assumed you were there, but I'm glad you clarified it.
But the other thing too is that I wanted to denote 8-track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
All right, I'll take myself on the mix. Go ahead.
Well, the funny thing about that too is in our household, we were always a generation or two behind technologically. So we had just gotten an 8-track stereo like that summer. As 8-tracks are really starting to, phase out. So it was perfect for me. But the thing that caught me about the album, again, I didn't know who Prince was. It was just something about that image, the perfectly shaped afro, with the sunlight. It's like, kind of beaming through his eyes. And I just thought that's the coolest looking dude I ever seen in my life. So on just a kind of a hunch, I just traded my friend my Jackson 5 record for Prince, For You, and took it home and popped it in, and I'd never heard anything like it. And I was only 8 or not even 8 yet, so musically I didn't have a lot to pull from, but there's just something about it that spoke to me. So that was it. I was hooked from then on. So jump ahead, maybe, I guess it's 6 years, Purple Rain is out. And John Bream was one of the first, I think he and Stephen Ivory were the first two to write books on Prince. Yeah. And especially in John Bream's book, he talked a lot about Pepe, right? So that's how I learned who Pepe was. This would have been, again, summer, August, September, sometime October 84, whenever the book came out. So that was my introduction to Pepe. Jump ahead about 18 months. and I went to the record store one day, my local neighborhood record store, and I was looking specifically for, this was back in the days of the 12-inch vinyl singles, and Kiss was out. And I knew that, eventually there's going to be a 12-inch single of Kiss, and there's always a B-side that, everybody had to have. But of course, there's no internet back then. You don't know when it's coming out. You just know it's coming. So I'd go to the record store every week or so to look for it. And I walk in one day and I see this vinyl record sitting there on display, and it said Minneapolis Genius 94 East. And it's got the dove with the rose in its beak and the purple sky. So I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew that I was going to buy it. And I did, and I took it home. And then, of course, that's, when I really began to hear Pepe's music for the first time.
Wow.
And became a fan right away. And over the years, more music came out. I'd read more about Pepe in Uptown Magazine or other sources. Of course, there was the famous documentary that came out with Pepe and Prince's cousin Chaz.
Yeah.
Owen Husband, Chris Moon, and the like, to talk about those early days. So that was kind of my introduction to Pepe over the course of a decade or so. And I moved here in the late summer of 1997. And within 10 days of me living here, Prince is doing a benefit concert at Paisley Park for Sharon Sales Belton, who was the mayor. She's running for re-election. And I'm standing there. I'm probably like one of the first people in line. We're lined up along the gate on Audubon Road. And sun's about to set. I kind of look towards the west, and I see this car coming at me, this shiny black BMW. And normally I don't pay much attention to cars, but this one, for some reason, I just kept my focus on it. And it turned right. It was coming from the west, so it turned right onto Audubon and tried to pull into the parking lot at Paisley Park. And somebody stepped out from the gate, security, and said, you
can't park here, man.
I couldn't hear what they were saying, but that's what I made of it. And Pepe got out of the car and walked up and talked to this gentleman. And I'm looking, I said, oh my God, that's Pepe Willie, right? And I'm looking around, does anybody else see who's here? And it was a younger crowd that night from what I remember, so I don't know how many people were hardcore fans or just found out about the benefit or what, but I was like, oh my goodness. So he starts walking back to his car, and I generally wouldn't say, I'm pretty shy. I don't, it takes a lot to get me to speak unless it's something I'm really passionate about in the first place. But I just blurted out, hey, Pepe. And he looks at me and he starts to walk over my direction. And he reaches his hand out and he says, where do I know you from? You don't, but I know you. And he said, okay, I'll be right back. So he gets in the car, goes and parks along Audubon Road there, and comes up, used me to cut in line, of course.
Thanks, Tony.
Right.
Oh my.
Right. And I remember the mosquitoes were really bad that night. And you brought a can of off or something. You had it right there in line. But we just started to talk. That whole time we were outside, probably a half hour or so, just about how I learned about who Pepe was and
I was very friendly, right, Tony?
Yes, of course, always are.
Well, and was that primarily because of the fact that you were surprised that anybody even recognized you at all?
Yeah, I thought that he went golfing with me or something. Because I said, I play golf a lot, and I was saying, like, do I know you from golf? You're going like, no, you don't know me, And I was like, well, how does this guy know me? So I was kind of like in shock, So.
Yeah.
I mean, because just like as you said, Tony, there wasn't any internet back then. So anything that you had to do, and I think, unfortunately, at that time, I was probably like more of those other kids that were there that probably would not have recognized
Right.
Pepe.
Yeah.
A lot of people, there's a lot of people that actually pay attention to like liner notes, like those guys like Questlove that can remember every little thing about every little detail about every album and who did what and blah, 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 blah. I wasn't that kid. And I think a lot of teenagers at that time were not. We weren't, we just weren't. We weren't involved in those types of details. And we weren't going to like the encyclopedic level of knowledge that you were like striving for to pull. It was like, oh, who's this? What does he look like? And blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And even if I did know what he looked like and saw him in the distance, I don't know that I would have gone. But obviously, it was a great choice because here it is. Yeah. All these years later, 30 years or whatever later, and you guys are working together, have come up with this fantastic book, which is available right now to the public. Correct? It came out Wednesday last week.
Yes. Now, Tony didn't tell you though that we played basketball for hours. Me,
really,
Tony, Chaz, Prince's cousin, we played basketball for hours. I mean, you get home, you're on the couch, you can't even move. I mean, we played, and Tony has a pretty good jump shot there.
Well, I used to.
Chaz got the 3-pointer. He got that nice shot, but I got a hook shot that's unstoppable, and they know it.
So what was Tony's signature move?
He has a jump shot. He has this jump shot.
Yeah, that's all I had. There's a good anecdote to our basketball days on how this all came into focus as well.
Yeah,
I was before I moved here. I had plans to become a professor, and I really wanted to write about music. I learned when I was in undergraduate school, people were starting to write about popular culture in the academic world and the political and social and spiritual meaning of this. So I was like, that's something I could do. So I was on my way to get a doctorate. That was my plan. And I had published a couple articles with some professors and some other things. So I was starting to write, nothing huge, but I took a year leave and of course never went back. But that year, that leave was here. And so of course I didn't know, I didn't know how long I'd be here. But when I stayed and when we became friends and would play basketball, I shared some of the stuff I'd written with Pepe. So Pepe, Chaz, and I went to play one morning at the Maple Grove Rec Center. And the woman, young lady who was, took our, we have to sign in or whatever. I don't know how it started, but she asked Pepe or Chaz, who, what they did for a living, right? And one of them said, I'm a musician, right? And she asked the other one, and he was like, I'm a musician too. And then she asked me what I did, and before I could say anything, Pepe said he writes books about music, which wasn't true. I had never written a book or even thought. I guess I thought about it, but I was nowhere near that. So maybe that just put something in my mind, that someday, and that's probably around the time we started to talk about it. And we never go ahead.
No, one of the interesting things about you, though, and a lot of people don't really know this about you, is that you have a bachelor's in African American studies and sociology. Yeah. I'm really curious what led you down that path and what your original thought was as far as when you're how you're focusing.
Because he married his sister.
We all want to figure out our wives. I got it.
That was later, but
I know.
I don't want to spend too much time on me, but
yeah, okay. Hi, Bob.
Okay, Tony, go ahead.
I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, which most people might, be familiar with it because of Notre Dame or more recently Mayor Pete. But South Bend in the 70s, it's about 90 minutes from Chicago, but it was always kind of like a microcosm of like a smaller version of Chicago. You had African American population was probably 30% of the city. You had ethnic Irish neighborhoods and German and Polish. It was largely segregated. My father was a teacher and a basketball coach at Central High School in South Bend. Famous John Wooden, that was his first coaching job. Michael Warren, if you remember from Hill Street Blues, he played at South Bend Central. So it's a big deal. So I'm a little kid. My dad his teams would generally be, if not all Black players, they were predominantly African American teams. So I saw things, just being, when you're little, when you're that age, you don't think of race until somebody points it out to you. You don't know any better until somebody mentions it. So I spent a lot of time at my dad's hip. So I knew his players and, their girlfriends, and, it wasn't a big deal to me. Around the time I was 9 or 10, they brought in a new superintendent in the school system. And the idea was to have busing like you had in Boston.
Wow.
Or larger cities. And so, the neighborhood I grew up in was predominantly white, but maybe half of my friends growing up were Black, 3 out of 6. I remember Chris Johnson was my best friend. Kevin and Wade lived around the corner from me. Terry Mitchum, who was a phenomenal drummer. He's a few years older than me. These were some of my friends growing up. And again, you didn't think about it until they started to bus us to different schools. So me and some of my friends were bused to another school, and they might have had cousins who went to a different school who were now bused to the same school. So I became their friends. But you also had, like you did in other cities, you had the backlash and you had people protesting.
Wow.
Outside the school. We don't want, these kids to go to school with our kids, that type of thing. So that's when I began to notice and learn, I'm of an age now, 10, 11, where you're a little bit more, maybe sophisticated is not the right word, but you're starting to learn more about the world. Right. And so I took an interest in this stuff, and it seemed like every year or so I'd have another teacher back then, not professor, but, just a 6th grade teacher or an 8th grade teacher, whatever, who noticed that these are issues that I took an interest in. And they might they might give me some, read this book or look into that. And that's kind of how all that developed during my youth and my adolescence, that interest. And I always had people that just kind of, like I said, fostered that interest and helped me build it. And that's kind of what helped, take me on the path that I traveled on.
They did a good job, Tony. You did a good job. You're a good student.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, for those of you who are just joining us, we have the legendary Pepe Willie on, along with the co-writer for his book, If You See Me, the writer Tony Kene. Is it Kene or Kene?
It's Kene, actually.
Kene.
Yeah.
So neither of the two.
That's okay. Nobody ever guesses right.
It's fine. Well, and it's fine. But
it's not a problem at all. Trust me.
No. So, I got a couple more questions for you before you go, before we get back to Pepe here, since we have you on board, because I'm a couple of years older than you are, Tony, and one of the interesting things is that you still got to jump on me at absorbing all things Prince. But what I find even more funny is that, were your parents paying attention at all to what you were listening to at all?
That's a great question. And I meant to mention this in another interview we did. I just never got around to it. When I brought home that 8-track tape, it's pretty innocuous, It's not like what was coming. And my parents, even when I was into my early adolescence, they were pretty they weren't intrusive, right?
Right.
They kind of knew what, kind of saw what I was listening to. But the way I hid this thing with Prince was, by the time Dirty Mind comes around, I had 4 or 5, vinyl, Michael Jackson or Kool and the Gang, the Commodores. I'd started to build a record collection, Earth, Wind and Fire. But I mentioned Terry Mitchum, a friend of mine, the drummer who lived down the street. He's a few years older. And the way I would get Dirty Mind and later Controversy into the house is I would just take take the vinyl. Terry would lend me the vinyl record without the artwork, without the packaging, and I would just slide it in another one of my record sleeves. And I listen to everything with headphones, right?
Oh yeah, that's
so they never, I think they really, by the time 1999 came around, they knew who Prince was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, they never heard me playing it, without my headphones on. So then, of course, Purple Rain comes around, and I remember overhearing a conversation between my dad and my mom. This was, Darling Nikki, Tipper Gore and all that stuff. That was mainstream news. I remember hearing them having a conversation about, what our son is, actually listening to, and who this Prince guy is, at least to their mind. But by that time, I'm 13, 14. I think, they kind of gave me that latitude and freedom. They did, my dad might have made a comment here or there.
Yeah, you lucked out.
That I recall, but it didn't, it didn't. The one thing they wouldn't let me do is go see Prince, right?
Yeah, that was the advantage I have, because because I was able to keep Prince on the down low.
You've seen Prince live, haven't you, Christopher?
Me?
Yes, I have. Yes, 27 times.
Oh my God!
but what's funny is that my mom knew who Prince was, but she really didn't pay attention to his music. And the one time that I got in trouble for listening to music that had inappropriate things in it was something that was so innocuous. I happened to be listening very, very loudly to the Police's album Synchronicity.
Oh.
Right.
And there's a song kind of called Synchronicity 2, where he yells, "It was a humiliating kick in the crotch." And she happened to walk in on that line. And I was just like, I'm thinking, I've got like Controversy and Dirty Mind in 1999.
That's hilarious.
And that's what you walk in on, and gave me grief about. So I was like, okay, never mind. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But but before you go, I got one more question for you. Well, first off, let me share some love for you, Tony. Got some love from Blessing had a couple. He said, "Welcome to the family, Tony."
Yay, Tony!
Thank you.
And Lenny said, "Speak your truth, Tony. I really appreciate your stories."
Yeah.
We got a bunch of Pepe questions. I'm saving those. So, folks, I may ask you to re-ask them a little later, because obviously the scroll is going. Johnny Wright says, "Powerful insight. Could listen to Tony for a long time."
Yeah, Tony.
Thank you so much.
Blessing had the second one too. Said, "Wonderful story, Tony. Thanks for sharing." And Cami said, "Got a home cooked meal for you next time you're in Indiana." Yes, that's always good. And of course, you got some extra work, because Denise says she's writing a book as well, and she needs a good publisher. So she wants some help organizing all those things. So that's you got a lot of love. But I did have one more question, and I know this is going to get shot down, because it's going to be a Pepe question technically.
Okay.
I heard about it from you, Tony, where you said that you mentioned in the Spectrum part of the book that Pepe told you a story about Love and Cup that could not be.
Oh Lord!
But you failed to go into details. So there's a story about Love and Cup that you did not go into details, and you said it probably could not be shared publicly. I mean, we all have like imaginations, but just curious if you would expand on that at all.
It's probably not that bad when you think about it. I can't remember exactly.
What's going to happen then? Okay.
But it was. I just mentioned that was my favorite 94 East song, right? And Pepe said, a lot of people tell me that, and that, he mentioned once, that he had lost his virginity.
Yeah, right.
Something to that effect, right?
Yeah, I was doing a show in Chicago,
Right.
and before I was about to go on, this guy comes up to me. He worked there because he was on stage, and he goes like, "Did you write Love and Cup?" And I said, "Yeah. Me and my friend Ike Page, we wrote Love and Cup." He says, "Man," he says, "me and my girl, the first time ever, in a Love and Cup." I thought it was great.
Yeah, that's a fast-paced song. So yeah, man, good on him.
Song that was great. He didn't say
It's not really fast-paced. It's kind of laid back. It's kind of, but you could put that on repeat. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, absolutely. So, Tony, we're going to get in here with Pepe, but what do you got going on? Again, major props for this book. Is excellent job in this book. Hats off. For those who have not picked up the book yet, please do. It is a really good read, and it's not like a short read either. There's a lot of history with Pepe. Yeah. And the way that Tony, helps to tell his story is just a great read. And I'm like 70% of the way through it, and I was just like, I was trying to finish it before we did the interview, but it's just amazing. Is there anything else that you're working on that people that are appreciative of what you're doing can follow you?
I've been doing 2 Prince-related columns. They've kind of, with COVID, they've kind of died down for the moment. The Minnesota Spokesman Recorder, which is the one of the 2 African-American weeklies in the Twin Cities. I started a column there. It's been about 3 years now, called Purple Music, Musings on the Minneapolis Sound. And with COVID, they had to reduce their paper went from 16 pages to about 8.
Wow. Yeah.
So hopefully as things, move back to normal in the future, we'll revisit that. Yeah. And I also have been working on a column for the PRN Alumni Foundation. Yeah. Stories from the park, where we, the idea is we take, we've done Susan Rogers, Craig Rice, Peggy McCreary, Jerry Hubbard Jr., Paul Peterson, probably 24 or so. It's myself and a couple other writers, Laura Tebert and Father Fred Shaheen, who's an Orthodox priest.
Wow.
Who's a Prince freak, if you can imagine that. We've been doing that together for almost a couple of years now, but again, with the everything that's going on, it's just been a little different. We kind of put that on pause, but hope to revisit that. And there's other, Pepe and I talk about writing another book.
Yeah.
At some point.
An amazing amount of material. So I absolutely would so look forward to reading it. Susan asked, what is the name of the book again? It's If You See Me. It is available now. They can pretty much get it anywhere, right? Amazon, any place else?
Yeah, pretty much. Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And as I hear from the Minnesota Historical Press, in about a week or so, it should be in all the local bookstores.
Yeah. Right. I think Amazon is out of stock right now, so I assume that's a good sign.
Yeah,
that's really
hopefully they're already and says, "Hey, it's out of stock." Yeah.
Yeah. Jill Norman says Amazon is sold out. And got a couple more comments for you, Tony, before you go.
Sure.
Say Johnny said, let's hope we can hear Tony on here again. Great guest. Absolutely. Would love to have you on, Tony. With so many background stories, and love to just cut it up with you.
That would be an honor. I'd love to anytime.
Chester said, Tony, do a column on Chris Moon. I think you have. Didn't you do something?
I've not done anything. No.
Yeah, he's a good one. You can absolutely use the interview that I did with him, which is it was a very interesting interview. We'll definitely give you a lot of material to work with. An interesting dude for sure.
Absolutely.
And as Jill said Amazon is sold out. And Susan said, thank you. Going to order it, but you can't order on Amazon. Tony Kene, thank you so much for joining us. And
Tony, I love you, man. I really mean it.
And we will be in touch. All right, Tony. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Baby.
I sure will. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Tony Kene. All right. So, Pepe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got so much stuff to cover, man. I don't even know. But I had so many questions for Tony. It was just like,
Oh no, that's cool. Tony's my man. He's my guy. That's
yeah.
right.
So again, for those of you just joining us on Funkatopia, if you're joining us on the Funked Up app around the world, you can absolutely join in on the video and also the interactive discussion that's happening here on YouTube and also on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/Funkatopia, or you can also go to YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and search for Funkatopia. You'll see the channel there, and you can watch this all live and participate in discussions. And we will absolutely go through all these questions that everybody is asking for Tony. So we are going to absolutely get with that. So, matter of fact, if you're in the chat room, go ahead and re-ask any questions that you have, so we can start this whole process again. And while I am actually going to be, Chester wants to know, we'll start this off. Pepe, did you know Chris Moon?
Oh yeah. I met Chris Moon a year after I was working with Prince. A year afterwards, because Prince and myself and 94 East was in the studio. And when we did those songs, the Cookhouse 5, I took them to New York to look for a deal, try to get a deal with a label. And during the time, I was in New York for about 6-8 months. And during that time, that's when Prince met Owen Husney and Chris Moon. So when I came back, Prince had told me about it, these guys that he met. And I says, well, are they cool? And he goes like, yeah, they're pretty cool and stuff. So I met Owen Husney and Chris Moon. Owen became his first manager. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that, as for people who have not read the book, which obviously there's many people who have not read the book yet, there's a lot of stories in there about Owen and some of the things, some of the cross-pollination and things that were going on. I think that you came in at a really, really awkward time because, well, first off, you came in, you were there in the beginning.
Yeah,
so,
74. Yeah.
Right. So you're you're able to see, Grand Central Station
right,
do their thing where you have Prince and Morris and Andre.
Right.
And they're all in this band. And it's just kind of like, you're trying to process everything, about them as performers. And I know that so many people here want to ask questions about Prince, but I want to build up to that because there's so many different things that I want to know about you. One of the things that struck me as I was reading the book was, you were probably a couple of years older than Stevie Wonder when you got an opportunity to meet him, or like right around the same age or real close. What was it like? I don't know if you were doing some valet work for him or whatever. What was it like? What was your interaction with Stevie Wonder?
To me, it was just a job that I was doing at the Brooklyn Fox Theater when they were playing there. I'd knock on his door if he wanted something from the store. I went and got him some food, whether it was eggs in the morning, if the show started early in the morning, or in the afternoon, if he wanted cheesecake from Junior's or a hamburger from the deli downstairs, but he did date my sister.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
He dated my sister. I think it was kind of like a puppy love kind of thing, and and I think my sister took it a little bit more serious than maybe he did, because Stevie was a star and stuff, little Stevie Wonder, and but she she holds that she dated Stevie, and matter of fact, when I did I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, gave a 25th anniversary rock and roll show at Madison Square Garden, where everybody was on the show. I mean, just everybody. The Boss was on that show, and I can't even think. Stevie was on the show. Smokey Robinson was on the show. Dion was on the show. Lil Anthony Imperials, Simon and Garfunkel. I mean, just tons and tons of people. And I asked Smokey backstage. I said, "Hey, Smokey, I said, you remember when I used to go to the store for you and get you sandwiches and stuff at the Brooklyn Fox? He goes, no. I started laughing. So then Stevie Wonder comes around, and I said, yo, Stevie, man, you remember I used to go to the store for you and get sandwiches at the Fox Theater? And he went like, oh, wow. He says, oh, yeah. He said, you remember that? You remember that? Because it was a long time ago. And he gave me a big hug and stuff, you know. And then my uncle went up to him and said, yeah, you was messing with my niece. That's what was happening, you know. My sister. But
Called him out.
Stevie remembered, so that was cool. That was cool.
Oh, let's see some of these questions. Lenny says, what was Pepe's favorite song growing up?
Oh, wow. Okay. One of my favorite songs, and Lenny, you probably, I don't know how old you are, but you probably won't remember this song, but it was I Found My Thrill on Blueberry Hill by Fats Domino. Oh, man, when I heard Fats Domino music on the radio, Blueberry Hill, and oh man, it was unbelievable. Ain't That a Shame? And oh man, it was so the lyrics were so simple, you know, and it just caught me. And you can just sing it, you can remember it over and over and over and over again. So those are my favorite songs growing up. Was with Fats Domino.
Oh, that's some good stuff. Yeah. There was somebody. April says Loving Cup was my joint.
Yeah.
There was somebody that had asked a question. I'm trying to re-find it now, wanting to know if there were any 94 East demos that have not been released yet. And I think you had clarified that before, that you think everything's pretty much been released at this point.
Well, yeah, all the stuff that Prince played with us is released. We are working on a new album. We're 4 songs short of the goal.
That was Jeremy.
So we're working on that. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Let's see. And this is kind of a funny question. Johnny says, does Pepe still keep in touch with Charles Chaz Smith and support the wonderful things he's fighting for? Also, when was the last time he was with Prince and what was the occasion? I think Chaz is in here right now, isn't he?
Yeah, Chaz is my brother, baby. Let me tell you.
Chaz is in here right now, matter of fact.
Yeah. I still stay in touch with Chaz and his family. I remember when his kids were babies, and now they all grown up and graduating from college, and his son is playing hoops. And, matter of fact, I'm going to see Chaz and his family next month. They're having a special dinner, so we're going to go up there, Tony, myself, and Marcy and Christy, other members of 94 East. Yeah. And the last time I spoke with Prince probably was in 2002. And he called me up on the phone. And no, I seen him after that. Yeah, I did see him after that. But in Las Vegas, I seen him in Las Vegas at the Rio. And it was a funny story, though, but he was, Chaz was supposed to go with me to Las Vegas, and he didn't go. So I went to Las Vegas because my nephew was in Stomp at the Planet Hollywood. And so I went out there and I was watching all their rehearsals. And one day he asked me, he said, do you want to go on another rehearsal? I said, nah, man, I think I'm going to go over to the Rio and have some lunch. So I go over to the Rio and I'm having lunch and I see the 3121 Club, after I finished lunch, and I go on like, wow. And all these people were walking by all around in the hotel. And I'm going like, wow, these people only knew, if they only knew, And so I walked out and I went outside to get in my car and I heard this music playing. And I was going like, wow, that's probably Prince's band rehearsing. So I went to where the noise was coming from and I got to the stage door. And I put my ear to the door and I was going like, oh, yeah. And I heard Prince singing. And I went like, wow, okay, Prince is in there. And I called Chaz on the phone and he wasn't home. And I was leaving him a message of, you should have came to Vegas, man. I'm hearing Prince band and I'm hearing Prince rehearse. And I put the phone up to the door so he could hear it, through his message. And then I put the phone back to my ear and this guy comes running across, the parking lot. And he goes like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I suppose you're trying to get in. I wasn't trying to get in. And just before I can even say anything, he punched the code on the door and he opens the door. He goes in, he goes to the right. I walk in and I go to the left. So I go to the left and I see the stage and I see Prince's back. And I was going like, oh, wow, okay, I'm gonna go around to the front so Prince could see me when I come in. So I walked all the way around, it's a round theater, and I come around to the front. Prince is on stage, and there was a bodyguard standing right next to him on the floor. Prince was up on the stage. So we give each other the nod. Prince sees me, and I give him the nod, like, yeah, what's up? And the bodyguard looks at Prince, and, Prince going like, yeah, he gives me the nod. So the bodyguard didn't bother me, he left me alone, everything. He thought everything was cool. So I sat down, I listened to a couple of tracks that they were doing, and then they finished. And then Prince took his guitar, and he starts walking towards the back. And he's coming around. There's a round theater. And he goes all the way up these stairs, and he's coming around, and I'm looking, I'm going around, and he comes around, I'm going around like this, he comes around, then he walks right next to me, and I go like, yo, Prince, what's up, man? And he goes, hi. And then he keeps walking, and I go like, oh my God. And I thought it was so hilarious, it was funny to me, and I was going like, well, maybe he didn't recognize me, what's going on, And the guy comes up to me and he says, you got to go now. And I said, what do you mean I got to go? I'm Prince's first producer. He says, well, if he didn't stop and talk to you, then that means that you got to go. And I said, all right, okay, no worries. And I left. And I called back home in Minnesota, and I told everybody what happened and stuff, and it was crazy. And it's kind of ironic because the same thing happened to John Bream. He was in the audience and stuck out his hand to Prince, and Prince gave him a handshake and stuff like that, and just totally was oblivious to who he was and the things like that. And, I thought that was kind of sad, and maybe I thought that maybe Prince didn't want me to see him in that mind frame or something like that. And that's why he might have been embarrassed and just walked on through.
But that was the second time that he actually did that to you, because in the book you had referenced going backstage and him being really just kind of flippant and kind of, you walked in and he had bodyguards on both sides of him. This was early when he obviously.
Oh yeah, that was at First Avenue. That was right after during the time I was doing Minneapolis Genius, and Jesse Johnson had called me up while I was in New York, and he had said. He had heard Prince's version of Do Yourself a Favor, which is If You See Me. And he said that he wanted to record that song. And Jesse was signed with A&M during that time. So I said, yeah, go ahead. Because Prince told me that he was going to put it on one of his albums, but he never did it. And he had already did 2 other albums. So I asked Jesse, I said, yeah, go ahead and do it. I told him, I said, go ahead and do it. And then when I came back, back to Minnesota, and I seen Prince at First Avenue, and he had this bodyguard here and a bodyguard there, but I had the heavyweight boxing champion Mike McDermott with me. We was hanging out, and Prince came up to me and he was kind of upset because in the first argument that we ever had, and he says, I heard that Jesse's doing Do Yourself a Favor. And I said, yeah, man. I says, you were supposed to put it on your album, but you never did. What am I supposed to do? I told him, I said, look, I got to eat too. You know what I mean? And then he says, yeah, and what about Minneapolis Genius? And I said, yeah, what about it? I said, I called your management, which was Bob Cavallo, and I talked to Bob, and I said, Bob, tell Prince I'm doing Minneapolis Genius. I'm doing an album on some of the tracks that we did. And Bob is the one who told me, he said, well, I don't think Prince would want to know about this right now. And that kind of shocked me because Prince and I were like this, and it shocked me. I said, well, why wouldn't he want to know, So now we have First Avenue, and he's telling me about it. And I told him, I said, look, I said, Prince, I told your people that I was doing this album because that's how we work. You know, I tell you what I'm doing, you tell me what you're doing, you know, blah, blah, blah. And if they didn't tell you, I said, that's your people's problem, not mine, you know.
Right.
And then he walked away, and then I walked away. And, you know, we spoke later on. Bobby Z gave a party at his home. And so I was invited to that, and I went there, and then Prince came in, and we made up, we shook hands and hugged and all that type of stuff, you know, and that was cool. But yeah, I had also spoke to him in 2002 when his name became a trademark. And I was talking to him, and he wanted to know about some people that was using his music illegally and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I said, well, you know, I don't know about these people and stuff. I said, there's an album in Europe that has your picture on the cover, but my music on the inside. And I was upset about that, you know. And then I had asked him at that time, being that we were talking, I said, you know, let's get together, let's have lunch, let's go play some hoops, because I played a lot of hoops with him too, you know. He's a great basketball player. And he told me at that point, he says, I don't talk to people. And how I don't know how you can relate. How can I come back with, what do you mean? You know, it was nothing that I could say, you know. And I said, okay, you know. And then I spoke with his lawyers after the hang up, and then my lawyers got together, and we figured out a way how I could use Prince's name with 94 East music, you know. And so we all got that straight, and everything was good. And but I kind of like, you know, I blame myself for the way that he had gotten, you know, because if I would have stayed with him, you know, he would have been different. You know, I mean, his talent is there, but his the way he socializes with people, and you know, things like that, you know. He wanted me to manage him, but I couldn't. You know, I'm not a manager, and I couldn't do anything wrong for him, but I wanted to make sure that he had great management. And I did manage him for a few months until I found him proper management after Owen Husney. I called a friend of mine, Don Taylor, and Don Taylor was managing Diana Ross, Marvin Gaye, and Bob Marley and the Wailers, you know, and Jimmy Cliff, and, you know.
Had a big falling out with Bob Marley, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you know. And then Don flew Prince and myself to Miami. He did sign with Don for a year, you know.
You know, and I don't know that you're kind of being hard on yourself about, man, if I'd have done this or I'd have done that, but you know, there's been repeated stories, you know, about Prince and music and rights and you know. One of the things that I found interesting was that, you know, you've done, you know, when you were first starting to talk to Prince, but when this way back in the beginning,
right?
And you know, one of the questions was, Pepe, you married Prince's cousin. How old was Prince back then?
Oh, wow. How old was Prince? Prince had to have been like 13, 14 years old. Yeah.
And so, you know, and you're told to get on the phone with him at some point in time. This is maybe a couple of years later, a few years later, and talk to him about music. You just kind of talk to him about music. I think it was one of the first main you have about publishing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And publishing just always confuses me. It really just kind of, because I can't wrap my head, like, for instance, you know, how does Prince get reimbursed for anything that he did on 94 East or Andre or anybody else?
Yeah.
And then to kind of expand on that even a little bit further, how does all that stuff work? Or do you feel like, let's talk about two instances I can think of at the top of my head. First being Kiss. with the whole Brown Mark right now, obviously is catching a lot of grief because I guess he did an article or some type of interview with New York Post,
Okay.
talking about Kiss and how, he totally restructured that song and rebuilt that song and did all this work to this song. And when Prince gave it to him he gave that song to Brown Mark to use with Maserati.
Okay.
And said, here it is. This is yours. It's a ballad because Kiss was a ballad at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And Brown Mark really didn't he wasn't feeling it. He said, we kind of had to Maserati it up. And so they picked it up. They changed the beat. They changed the song structure. They did a bunch of things with the melody lines.
Right.
And they completely revamped that song.
Right. Yeah.
And when Prince heard it, he erased their vocals, put his vocals on top of it, left their background vocals, and took the song back. And it ended up being a huge, huge hit for him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And Brown Mark obviously kind of felt really, really slighted in that matter. And obviously he's catching a lot of grief, but I always say, look, if the tables were reversed,
right. Yeah.
Prince had came in and done all this work on the song and restructured a song and just totally changed everything about a song, and then you put it on an album and didn't give any credit to Prince, the world would be in an uproar.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was still, to my knowledge, is still Prince's song because he originated it. It's just like If You See Me. When I wrote If You See Me, and Prince re-recorded it as Do Yourself a Favor, but I still own the song. And then Prince did it his way. He picked up the beat, he changed this, he did that, but it's still my song because I own the copyrights to it.
But so how does the monetary part of it? What is the value to Prince in recording this song, other than having a great song on the album? What is its monetary benefit? Is that something that's all just
well, the copyrights, it mounts down to a penny. Everything is based on the penny. So if you own a song 100%, you wrote it and you published it, you have that full penny. If I wrote it with you, then you would have half of that penny. Right. That's how it goes. So you add up all the pennies, so you got radio, national radio pays $2-3 per minute, something like that. So if the song is like 3-4 minutes, you figure it's like $6 every time it's played, $5 or $6. So you multiply that by how many plays you're getting. So if you have like 500,000 plays across the United States, and and you're getting $6 for every time it's played, that adds up to a lot of money. You know what I mean?
But what's the value in Jesse Johnson covering your song if you own the whole penny?
Well, with Jesse, I split the publishing with him for his version. So I gave up 50%
of that penny.
Of that penny. You know what I mean?
Just because you kind of felt like Jesse Johnson could get you a lot more traction with that song.
Yeah. I was trying to get a hit record out there, and Jesse was signed with the major label. And if you can get your song on a major label, out there with an artist, and he already had an album that did pretty good, his first album. And then the second album, Shockadelica, when that came out, he did really well with that. And I had a song on that album. It kind of like puts your name in the game, in the business. I've met people who are, and I've said, my name is Pepe Willie. And he goes, oh yeah, I've seen your name come across my desk. you know what I mean? I don't know this guy from Adam, you know what I mean? But
So, but to kind of expand on that, you had also talked in your book about the song "Do Me, Baby."
Yeah.
To kind of expand on that, Andre had written that song.
Andre had originally did that track. I took Andre and Prince to New York to record for the Imperials. Anthony had left, and the Imperials wanted some tracks. So Tony Sylvester from the Main Ingredient, Everybody Plays a Fool, song.
Oh yeah.
Called me up, and I said, look, I got 2 musicians that can do all the stuff. You don't need nobody else, and he trusted me on that, and he flew us to New York. So each of us had to have a song. I had If You Feel If You Feel Like Dancing.
Yeah.
And Andre had "Do Me Baby," and Prince had some other song. I can't remember the song he had, but then later on, Prince puts out "Do Me Baby" and claims it. Of course, Andre was upset about it, but if you have to copyright your music, to all these young musicians and artists out here, when you write a song, before you let anybody listen to it, copyright it. Go to the Library of Congress, get the forms in. You can do it online. Copyright the song, the way it is, and you can re-copyright it after you mess with it a little bit more, doing like sound recordings. But the main thing that first thing that you have to do is copyright the song, and then you're kind of safe, and if anybody records it, hears it and records it, and they put it out, don't get upset. Just let it go, let it sell.
Right. Yeah.
Let it sell. And then you can say something. Hey, I wrote this song. Here's the copyright, whatever. But, I don't think that Andre had wrote the song, and, Prince did, so.
So that kind of brings me, I just have a few more questions, because I want to respect your time, but I just had so many questions for you, because again, when I started this, for those just joining us, we were talking to the amazing Pepe Willie, who was there from the very, very beginning with Prince's career. And I mean, you're just a legend. So I absolutely want to take advantage of this time. And I don't want all the questions to be about Prince, even though a lot of people want that, but
let me just say this one thing. It's like when Prince and I started, Andre and Morris Day and all this, and then Prince broke away, and the thing with Prince and I was like a marriage. He was like my little brother, and everything that I asked of him, he did. Everything. He never talked back. He never said, "Why do I have to do this?" or or anything like that. And that's why I say that if I was still with him, maybe things would have been a little different and stuff. You know what I mean? There was an incident when we was in North Carolina where he felt like he was being carried around like a piece of meat, So I knew at that time, by being around all these other artists in Brooklyn, what I had to do. I had to, sit down with him, talk about sports, talk about family, talk about children, flowers, the birds, the trees, everything, to kind of like bring him back down to reality where he can focus and he don't feel this being carried around like a piece of meat type of thing. And so he got it, he got it. He calmed down everything. So I thought at that time that he would, use that formula. If he started feeling like that again, that he would use that formula, get with his friends, get with his family, talk to kids or whatever, that he would bring himself down. But when he did go there again mentally, there was nobody there because he was the boss. He was the boss. So it was nobody who's going to tell Prince what to do, or how to act or how to be. That's why I say if I was there, I would say, Prince, man, look, this is, we got to relax. We got to talk about these things. How do you feel about this? How you feel about that? Just to bring them back down,
Well, the question I had to kind of rewind a little bit is to talk about the legendary Teddy Randazzo.
Oh,
So for those who don't know who Teddy is, he is a world-renowned songwriter. Pretty much, he was kind of in like Prince in a lot of ways, is that when he wrote, he was in connection with how people would react to music. He knew music theory. He knew how to construct a song. Yeah. And pretty much all of the hits by Little Anthony and the Imperials were, had Teddy's hand on it.
That's right. Absolutely.
A huge portion of them. And he was also your mentor.
Yes.
And also, you actually gave him the first song that you ever wrote, and you handed it
Yeah.
to Teddy, who actually, took you under his wing also, and redlined it and did a bunch of stuff and
Oh,
worked.
yeah.
But what are some of the songwriting tips? Because I know we have some songwriters that are in this mix with us. What are some songwriting tips and tricks? Just some examples. Maybe there's a certain way you structure a song or whatever, or things that he would tell you not to do, or maybe what to focus on when writing songs. And then the second part to that question is, was there anything that Teddy told you, because he put a bunch of notes on your first song, right? You're like, don't do this, do that. Yeah, that's good. Don't do that. So what are some of those things that he told you that has stuck with you, that it's always applies to every song that you write? And had any of those tips got passed on to Prince?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because Teddy, when he ripped my song apart, which broke my heart, I tell you,
Sure.
you sit down there and you're writing, you're going like, oh yeah, this is it. Then you take it to him and he starts redlining all of this stuff, and you're going like, oh my God, my baby, But like not to use too many words. You don't need a lot of words, to say what you need to say, especially in lyric writing. If you're saying the city was cold and the world was tame, something like that, he would say the city is.
He would say he's like the cold city.
The city is cold.
Yeah.
The world, instead of using and the world was, he would say the world is, instead of using a lot of and the, that type of thing. You can critique yourself by, you can say the same thing, but you can just eliminate certain words, where it gets too wordy, So he taught me that. And by the next time I came to him, he was redlining less and less, I mean, he was awesome guy.
And what are some of those tips or things or stuff that you passed on to Prince and just said?
Well, yeah, because they had wrote songs while he was in Grand Central that were like 5 minutes long, or even longer. Right. And I was going like, wow, during that time in the 70s, you didn't have that much time. Records on the radio at that time were 3 minutes, 30 seconds, something like that. So you had to have this formula, that you use, that when you finished the song, it was 3 minutes or 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The intro, first verse, the hook, the second verse, the hook, a bridge, back to the hook, and you can vamp out. If you have another verse, you can add another verse. It all depends on how long you want the song to be. But usually if you're using that formula, you'll come out with a 3 minute, 3:30. Now it's longer now. You can have longer songs, But then it was only like 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, if that, because I know a lot of songs like 2.5 minutes sometimes back then. Jeremy asked, do you see the Grand Central demos ever being released?
Grand Central demos? Oh, I don't know. That's up to Andre. I don't even know who owns those tracks, that they did. I don't know.
The funny story that had me in stitches was when you had, been all over and you come to see Grand Central for the first time. And apparently there's a bunch of stories going on about you before you've even walked in the door and met anybody. Yeah. And you go into the room and everybody's just kind of watching you and eyeballing you. And tell that story about exactly what happened, what was going on there. Because
my father-in-law, Eddie Mandeville, had a ski club, skiing and everything. I never skied before. I'm from Brooklyn. But, I managed to get me a ski outfit and I went skiing and I learned how to ski a little bit, after falling a few times. So right after that, they had a party at this club called Paul's Place. It was some bar, restaurant, and they had a stage and everything. And so everybody gravitated over to that place. And so as I heard it, that they were thinking that some big time producer was coming in from New York to check out the band. You know, I didn't know it was me. I had no idea. So now I'm listening to the band and stuff, and I really wasn't paying them that much mind, you know, because I had no idea, you know, that I was supposed to do this or anything. So I'm listening to the band. I'm going like, wow, these guys play good. And I see Prince. I go like, hey, man, you know, how you doing? And, you know, he's playing everything. But Morris Day's mom, LaVon, was their manager. And she was sitting by herself, you know, and I looked over at her and she was just staring at me. And you know, and I was going like, wow, you know, and I felt this vibe that, you know, what should I do, you know? And, you know, people told me that, well, that's the band's manager. And I was going like, well, why is she looking at me? You know, and she was kept looking. So I felt obligated to go over there and say something, you know. So I went over there and I says, hi, I'm Pepe. She goes like, yeah, I know how you are, you know. And I said, you know, I really like the band, you know, they play very well. And I guess I would like to work with your band. And she says, okay, great. And she started setting up these rehearsals at her home up in the attic. And I just felt obligated to go to go there, you know, and, you know, listen to the band. And I knew what to do, you know, but it wasn't on my mind to go up there and try to produce a band or, you know, do anything for them. But it worked out, you know, and their first rehearsal, I talked to them about the length of their songs, and we worked together for, you know, at least 6 months, you know, and I had asked Prince if he had ever been in a recording studio, and he says no. And I says, well, good, I'm in the studio now with my band, you know, come and play with us. And I gave him a tape of 5 songs, and he learned it and then came in the studio with us. I booked the time, he learned it, and we went in the studio. Later on, we took Grand Central into Cookhouse. I think they went in twice. They went in with me, and then one time they went in again with Dale Minton, who was the owner, you know, of Cookhouse. And well, the time that they went in with me, Dale had said that they play their cover stuff better than they played their original stuff, you know. So then they had to go back to the drawing board, and then they went again, but I wasn't around then at that time. I probably was in New York or something.
Well, I just think it's just so funny how, you know, you kind of walked into the scenario without even knowing that you were.
I know, but you know, another thing is like what I like to get out of the book is like, you know, what you say can change your life. You know, what you do and what you say can change your life. Because we were at my uncle's group, Little Anthony and Imperials, were playing at the Copacabana, the world famous Copacabana Club. And Sammy, one of the Imperials, comes into the dressing room, and I'm taking his jacket. I give him a towel to wipe the sweat off his face. I'm hanging up his uniform. And he says to me, he says, who's that girl in the waiting room with the green eyes? And, you know, just out of the blue, I go, oh man, that's my girl.
You didn't even know her.
I didn't even know her, you know, but he had good taste in women. And I just thought that, well, you know, these guys can't have all the girls, you know, let me go out here and see if I can find me somebody. And so I went out in the waiting room, and I was looking at all these girls in the waiting room, and I'm looking for this girl in the green eyes, and I go, oh, there she is. And I go and I sit down and I talk with her. And, you know, and it happened to be Prince's first cousin, Chantel. You know, so you look at that scenario and you go, well, what would have happened if Sammy came into the waiting room, in the dressing room, and said, who's that girl out there in the green eyes? And I go like, I don't know.
That history would have been gone too. You would have never,
right? Everything would have been totally different, you know. So, but you know, God had
Right.
other plans for me, I guess, so.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, the 94 East sessions had, I only got a couple more questions. I know there's some other people that are asking questions here, but in 94 East sessions had a lot of people going in and out. A good friend of mine, Marshall Charloff.
Oh, Marshall. I love Marshall. Yeah.
So Marshall Charloff is in, for those who don't know who Marshall Charloff is, he is, he plays guitar and piano, and he's also does Prince impersonation with the band Purple Experience, and he's been on the show. He's done a lot of things, but he also had mentioned that he was involved in 94 East, which I had no idea. What was his involvement with 94 East?
Well, okay, I mentored Marshall also. I met Marshall as a teenager, and he was so impressed with Prince's stuff, so he wanted to hang out with us and everything. So he hung out with us. I produced a few songs with Marshall, but they never went anywhere because it was just.
It's kind of hard to get out of the spotlight of Prince.
Marshall is like Prince, man. He's like, he's dedicated, and he just works so hard, and if I ask him, we're in the studio and he's playing bass and on a track, and I go like, oh, wow, that was good. I said, that was good, Marshall. Let's just do it one more time. He goes, why? I go like, well, just to have one more, I said, that was good. He said, well, you didn't like that? And I was going like, no, I liked it. He said, then why do I have to do it over? I said, Mark, okay. Then I said, okay, there's one point in here that could be done better. Then he had to come in the studio. Then he had to listen. Then he goes, okay, I hear what you mean. Then he goes back and he does the bass track. But he did that with every instrument. And it was wearing me out, man. I'm telling you. I love him dearly. I do. I love Marshall dearly. And we've been friends for a long time and continue to be friends. Matter of fact, when he does the Purple Experience shows here in Minnesota, the 94 East crew is there, me, Marcy, and Christy. And he always calls us up on stage to sing a couple of songs. We sing Purple Rain and some other songs, that he does. And he also played on a song that I wrote called 2051, that I did. That's on our 94 East featuring Prince remix album. And he played keyboards on that. And then when I worked in Austin, I did South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, a couple years ago. And I told him I was going to be there, and he says, oh, I got to play. I'm going to play with you, man. I got to play. I mean, he, is just like reincarnation of Prince, or they drank the same water or something, because when we were doing our single for Polydor, Prince was just finishing his demo at Sound 80, and we're going in with Hank Cosby, who wrote My Sharia Moore, produced For Once in My Life with Stevie Wonder. I was co-producing with him. And Prince see us, and he says, what are you guys doing here? And we going like, man, we getting ready to record our single. And Prince goes, can I play on it? Can I play on it? Can I? We go like, yeah, okay, man, come on. And he wind up playing on those 2 tracks that we did.
Yeah. Eddie says, how come Andre's sister Linda never gets any love? You never hear her getting mentioned in these stories. Was she a great musician?
Yeah, Linda was good. She was the piano player, the keyboard player in Grand Central. I don't know what happened to her after that, because when I left and I went to New York and I came back, and Prince had already met Owen and Chris Moon. So I don't know what happened with the band at that time, but Linda was good. I mean, she listened to everything, and Prince gave her chords to play on the keyboard and everything like that. She was good, and she's still a good friend. I see her every now and then. Oh, yeah.
Well, again, I want to finish this off with a really, really funny story that I want you to retell that's in this book. First off, again, if you're just joining us, I don't know where you've been. Pepe Willie's been with us. He's been super gracious with his time, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming.
I appreciate having, coming on and telling the stories. And then one thing that I want to mention before you ask your next question is that all the artists and new artists that are there, you are standing on the shoulders of previous artists who helped us get to where we are right now, where we can own our own music and write our own music, and have attorneys and stuff to look out behind us, because, like groups like Lil Anthony and the Imperials, you got groups, singers like Sam Cooke and, these guys and stuff who came before us. They couldn't even stay in the hotels when they went on tour in the South. They couldn't even go in the restaurants and stuff. They couldn't. They had, it was just terrible and stuff. They couldn't drink this out of this water fountain. They had to drink out of that water fountain and stuff. And I needed these new artists that are coming up. Don't take this for granted, because there's people who have suffered for us to be here. That's why I always talk about Lil Anthony and the Imperials and all these other artists that came before, because we are standing on their shoulders, man. And, we don't want to mess this up. We have to appreciate what we're doing and not take for granted, the talent that we have and the opportunity that we have in order to write our own music and own our own music.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody that's ever been successful nowadays that's had any type of longevity respects that and owns
right.
that.
Absolutely.
That has to be, there's no need to recreate a foundation that's already been laid, a solid foundation that's already been laid by all these artists that came before you. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But the funny story is, for those of you who don't know Dusty Springfield.
Oh my God.
Dusty Springfield is was this beautiful woman, still is this day. I think she's still with us, right? I think so.
I think so. She did that song, I'm Hurt, I'm So Hurt.
Yeah, and she also, a lot of people didn't even know Dusty Springfield until the movie Pulp Fiction, when son of a preacher man, son of a preacher man.
Right, yeah. Right.
And then she also had, the song Spooky, which was covered by Atlanta Rhythm Section. Spooky, Boy Like You was Boy Like You when Dusty did it. And then Wishing and Hoping. Anyways, she had
Wishing and Hoping. Yeah.
She had tons of songs.
Yeah.
And she was kind of like that era's kind of like Adele type of.
Absolutely. She's from Europe. She's from Europe.
London, So but anyways, so you need to tell the story about what you had to do for her and what transpired at that point to kind of to finish this off with a really funny story.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to the store for all of these stars and everything. So I knock on Dusty Springfield's dressing room door. And I said, would you like something from the store? She goes, oh, yeah, I would like something. Come on in. So I go in. She gives me some money. And she says, I want you to go get a box of dishes. A box of dishes. I said, all right, okay. And in Brooklyn, you can walk on Fulton Street during that time. They had music playing outside. You can buy sweaters. You can buy shoes. You can buy records, 45s and everything. And they had all kinds of stuff out there. So I walked along till I found this little store that had dishes. So I said, okay, give me these box of dishes. These guys were, how many saucers and cups or what? I said, just, even it up, give me dishes, cups, saucers, plates, whatever. So he gives me this box. So I pay him and I go back to the Fox Theater, and I go to Dusty's room and I says, here's all your dishes and stuff. She said, oh, thank you very much. Keep the change. That's how I made my money, keep the change. I said, all right. So I go back upstairs to the Imperial's dressing room, and then all of a sudden we start hearing this noise. Crash, crash. Crash. Everybody starts coming out of their dressing rooms. What's going on? Four Tops coming out of their dressing room. Everybody, Temps and everybody, and Dionne Warwick and Patti LaBelle, everybody, and we go down to Dusty's dressing room, and she's got these dishes and she's throwing them against the wall. She's just throwing them. She reaches in the box and she grabs a plate, splash, and I'm looking at her. I'm standing right next to her, and she goes like, "This is how you relieve tension." She said, "You want to try it?" So she gives me a cup or something, and I throw it and smash it. I didn't feel anything any different, but anyway, You know, that's how she relieves her tension, man. You know, it was crazy. And then you had other artists started throwing plates and stuff. You know, it was crazy. It was crazy.
That's funny. It was just such a random thing for
you know.
I didn't know why I didn't. When I was reading the book, I didn't know why I didn't. I didn't foresee that was going to happen for whatever reason. I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't foresee it either. You know, I mean, what are you going to do?
But I heard that a bunch of bands actually came into the dressing room when they were figuring out what she was doing, and she started handing out dishes to people.
Yeah, you know, throwing dishes. You know. And another thing, see, they used to sing after the shows that Murray Decay did on the holiday shows. They used to come out and do gospel songs in the hallway.
Yeah,
you know?
you're telling that story, and
and
I will be back there, and
you know, everybody's singing. I'm thinking, how do they know these songs? First of all, you know, everybody from different states and everything, you know, and that everybody got along. Everybody got along. You know, there was no animosity. The only thing that they did was when you went on stage, they wanted to beat the other group. That's it. But when they came off of stage, everybody was friends. We went out to dinner. We went out to lunch. We had fun, you know, laughing and joking, telling all kinds of stories. You know, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm laughing so hard, tears went down my face." And a lot of people laughing at that one. We got Jill laughing, Lenny's laughing.
Don't you guys go throw no dishes now, you know.
Terry says the Greek threw plates. Anyways, man, Pepe, I gotta tell you, it's such an honor to have you on here. I've wanted to get you on for a while, and I know I wanted to get you on, but when I heard about the book release, and I was like, I don't want to mess that up because I know that's an important event. You know, Craig's going to be on there and everything, so I know that's an important event. So I was so glad to actually be able to get you on the show right after that. And I'm glad it's been such a success. And obviously the book is doing phenomenally well on Amazon because it's already sold out. So that's incredible. And I guess they're going to, you know, keep on coming, but the book is If You See Me. Yeah. And you can get it pretty much anywhere, Barnes or Noble, wherever you get your normal books. And it's a really, really great book. I'm so looking forward to going ahead and getting it finished. I got about 70% of the way through.
Yeah, let me know when you finish it. I want to know what you think, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely will give you a call, and we got to connect. Matter of fact, I was in Minneapolis this past weekend. I was going to try to reach out. I was like, hey, if he's here in Minneapolis, you're in Minneapolis now?
Yeah.
I should have called you while I was up there. We could have done lunch or something. That would have been amazing.
Well, make it quick because when it gets cold, I'm out of here.
I've never been to Nevada, so I think it was an honor to have you on board, brother. I can't thank you enough for not only for the great book, the great read, an amazing interview. Make sure that you definitely send a email to Tony and tell him how much I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Tony's my guy. Yeah.
Send my love to Chaz too, but also I would be beside myself if myself, along with everybody that's here, didn't thank you for all the work that you put in helping to establish that foundation for Prince and getting him a launching pad and kind of getting him and bringing him into the world. Yeah. It can't thank you enough. And
thank you. I thank Funkatopia for giving me the shot to get out here and run my mouth a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? While I got you, why don't we do a bumper? And just say this is Pepe Willie, and you're listening to Funkatopia. That'd be good.
Right,
yeah, go ahead.
This is Pepe Willie, and you're listening to Funkatopia, baby.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
See, you guys are going to hear another radio station. That's how we do it. It was so great to have you on board. I can't thank you enough. And
thank you, Mr. Christopher.
We'll be in touch. I'll let you know the second that I finish that book. It will be a text at 3:00 in the morning, like Prince used to.
Prince used to call me at 3 in the morning.
I'm done with it.
Prince used to call me 3, 4 in the morning talking about I finished that song, Pepe. I go like, Couldn't you wait till like 8? You know.
So
Yeah.
I think Chaz, obviously he was saying hello. I lost his comment, but Eddie says thank you. Eve says thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, thank you
Lenny,
guys for listening.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. And of course, if you missed any part of this, you can obviously tune in. We'll edit it down. It will be up on iHeartRadio and all the other places that are out there. So once again, thank you so much, and I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you so much,
right.
Pepe.
Peace, baby.
Peace. We'll talk to you later.
All right, baby.
All right, bye-bye. Get some rest.
Yeah, all right. Got to get some rest now.
Me too. You wore me out. All right, night.
All right, peace.
All right, that was the legendary Pepe Willie, and oh my gosh, what an amazing show! And but wait, the show's not over, believe it or not. Oh my gosh, yeah, I absolutely could have him back because he's got so many stories. But I don't want to blow through all the stories because the book is called "If You See Me." It is a phenomenal book. And if you have not got an opportunity to read it or purchase it, please do so. Go ahead and put it in a back order on the Minneapolis Historical Society, mnhs.org. I think you can also get it through them as well. But the Minnesota Historical Society is amazing. Matter of fact, they were the ones, along with, I think, PRN alumni and Craig Rice. I think they did that, the book launch that happened on this past Wednesday. You can go on there and you can purchase his book there. I think they have tons of copies of that book as well. You absolutely positively have to get it. It's a great read. And it's not one of those, some of these books that people release just seem to be haphazardly thrown together. Just doesn't seem like there's a lot of editing. There'll be grammatical errors and it just doesn't flow really well. You can tell when there's actually good writing involved with the guys like Tony Kene that was here, that had when get actual writers that are really talented involved, that can actually take those amazing stories that he tells and craft them in a way that makes it a really good and enjoyable read. And it's not something you go, one more chapter. I'm literally thoroughly enjoying this book. The last book that I enjoyed this much was My Taste book, The Most Beautiful. And it just flows so well. So it's been incredible. But guess what? Thank you, Jill, for posting that up. I will make sure that I put that up there. Jill's got the Minneapolis Historical Society's link right there. I just posted it on the screen. Thank you, Jill, for that. And you can actually click on that link in the chat area there, and you can pick up a copy of the book because, once again, Amazon sold out. So for those of you who are on video, let's do this. We're kind of do this a little bit in reverse because I want to be able to cut the audio folks here loose, because I'm going to do an unboxing of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe that's already been done a bunch of times. But before I do that, I don't want to cut you audio folks that are on Funked Up loose now and then come back and do a recap of my Minneapolis trip, which is going to be very, very brief. So I'll go ahead and do this part because that's an audio portion of the show. So we'll do that. So here we go. I flew out to Minneapolis on Thursday night. I was a guest of my good friend, Nick Garcia, who came in from Texas with his wife and his kids. And they invited me to go to Paisley Park for the event that is, I don't know what the event was even really called. It was to celebrate the release of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe and Sign of the Times reissue in general, not just the Super Deluxe, but all the other different versions that came with it. And so the night was supposed to essentially consisted of DJs playing a bunch of selections of music from the album. And then on top of that, also, it started with the video from New Year's Eve, which, I kind of felt like that was going to be really, really cool because I was able to go to Minneapolis. I was able to check it out. So my thought process was it's going to be very, very cool to be able to see this concert, this New Year's Eve concert that Prince had done, that is included as a DVD in Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. But to see it in Paisley Park on a big screen with that sound system where it was recorded in 1987, a mere, 33 years ago? plus. And I thought this is going to be very, very cool. And I'm looking forward to it. But before that, we even went on this tour, you know, I've said on now the past three episodes, I've said that I'm a little bit discouraged when the people like us that spend an exorbitant amount of money to keep the estate in a good spot, to keep him, to keep Prince's legacy intact. And we go out and we spend $160 for the CD set, or for some of the folks that spent $300 for the massive vinyl set of all these songs. And then, of course, there's a bunch of other different versions. They have the 7-inch single collection, which I don't remember how much was. That was like $80. So there's like all this money that's being spent on buying this merchandise. And what was probably a little, and the issue that I have is that they made all this stuff available for free to everybody, even the folks that did not pay a single dime, right out of the gate. So the album was not supposed to be released until this past Friday. And so the album gets released on this past Friday, and at 12:01 a.m., even before most people even have this album in their hands, every single one of the songs that is on Super Deluxe, every single one of the songs that's on Super Deluxe is available on YouTube, is available on Spotify. It's available for free everywhere. Not to mention the fact that I'm already listening here. I'm looking at all these people that are, complaining that I purchased it from Amazon and I still haven't gotten it yet. I purchased it from the estate because I wasn't comfortable with the Amazon listing. The Amazon listing just looked wonky to me. The listing wasn't complete. It wasn't structured right. It didn't really have a lot of the offerings correct. And the pricing was different than what the estate was saying on the Paisley Park site. On the Paisley Park, there was something about it that just didn't feel right. And while I wanted to take advantage of the Amazon Prime free 2-day shipping and whatnot, something didn't feel right with me about the Amazon listing. And so I went with the estate listing, which was, if I remember correctly, it was something like $10 more than what Amazon said. And on top of that, I also had to pay shipping from Paisley Park. Shipping was not included in that. So that was yet another issue. So all in all, I think it ended up spending like $35 or $40 more than if I'd have just waited and just purchased it on Amazon. But you start getting all of these people that are saying, I ordered mine on Amazon, I still don't have it. And there's other people that are saying, Amazon has not shipped mine yet. Cody saying it hasn't been shipped. And who else? Hoffler says, I ordered the CD Deluxe for that very reason. Trisha says, I got notification that mine has been shipped today. Well, that's great, but it came out Friday. So you got all these people, you spent that good money, but all those people have, including the people who didn't pay anything, have all got to hear this album before you actually being able to have it in your hand when you spend that kind of money. And, Blessing says, yes, it's a little frustrating. I still haven't received mine 6 weeks and over $300 later. And Hoffler says, mine is on the way. It's way to Australia. And it's just kind of, and then Susan says, I have not received mine yet from the estate. Soon, I hope. And I think with the estate, what ended up happening is that it depended on when you ordered it. I ordered it the day that it became available online to order it, but I ordered it from the estate. So I think that as time started going past, the closer, if you just did it like maybe a few weeks out from when the album was going to be released, or a couple weeks out, or I don't know what the time frame was. It could have been a month. I don't know. They took care of the orders in the order that they came in. So I think that was the issue. But unfortunately, again, the estate was more expensive. And while I wanted, and let me clarify this too, when I say the estate and Paisley Park, it seems like they should be one and the same, but apparently they're not one and the same. There are two very, very distinct players in this mix, just so we're clear, just so we know exactly what we're talking about here. Paisley Park is Paisley Park, but it's not the estate. So just to be clear, and we've heard stories, by sources I will not divulge, of stories of the estate and Paisley Park not being on the same page in a lot of scenarios, which ended up actually technically being the case for what happened on Friday night. Paisley Park was doing something, but the estate decided they were going to do something totally different. So it just, anyways, a lot of disconnects, Anyways, luckily I did get mine. I ordered it from the estate the day that it was available, and it did arrive on the day that it was supposed to be released. It did arrive Friday. Unfortunately, I was not here. It was Friday. So I was in Minneapolis. So I was sitting here. My daughter Jaden called me on the phone. He goes, "Daddy, you got a package. Can I open it?" I'm like, "No, you cannot open it. I just leave it be. I don't want you, just leave it." I was scared that I was just concerned. So I just left it. I left it alone. So I've managed not to open this box. So it's been sitting in my house since Friday. I got home Sunday night, and it lasted Sunday night. It lasted all day Monday. It lasted all day today. And here we are on Tuesday night, and I'll be opening it tonight in front of you guys. It's not going to be a big pomp and circumstance. I'm just going to open it. We're going to open it together so that you guys can understand what it looks like, what the experience is, and we'll just take it from there. So anyways, it's here, and we'll deal with it. Anyways, Hoffler also says Amazon packages not careful with items as well, Chris. And it's like, yeah, but it's flat. It's, it's whatever. But I didn't order it for Amazon. There's some things I ordered from Amazon. That wasn't going to be one of them. Anyways, so again, I had already been yapping away talking about how the fact that I'm okay with the music being on Spotify. Matter of fact, because of the fact that I was in Minneapolis and my order was here sitting on desk, Spotify actually saved me, and actually saved you too, because I'm going to be doing an opening. But if I didn't have Spotify to hear all these songs in advance, we would not be talking. That would not be part of the show, basically. So anyways, so I was up till 2:00 in the morning because I guess it was released on Spotify at like 11 something or whatever. It was late. And so I sat up and listened to all the unreleased tracks. I didn't re-listen to all the remastered Sign of the Times tracks. I'm sure they're all fantastically great. But those are one of those headphones things where you got to pay attention and just really kind of take it all in and re-listen to everything. I was more concerned about the tracks that I had not heard. And just to kind of go off on a little bit of a side note for those who are wondering what's going to be happening next week. Next week, we will be doing Sign of the Times Super Deluxe album chat, but it's not going to be the entirety of it. We're going to take, I think there's like a total of about like 36 songs or something like that, or a little 30 something songs. And I'm going to take it a batch at a time, like a dozen or 10 or so at a time. And part one of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe album chat will be next week, Tuesday night, right here. You will see the pop-up come up, and so you'll be able to enjoy that and take that in. So we're going to cover some of the songs that are on Sign of the Times Super Deluxe, not the Sign of the Times. We've already done an album chat for Sign of the Times. We've already done that. We're going to do an album chat for Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. So we'll be talking about some of the tracks that were unreleased, the songs like Train, the songs like Eggplant. You've heard those songs. You've probably have heard some of those songs before, but we're going to talk about some of the background stories and some of the things that are going on with some of those songs. And the first part of that album chat happens next Tuesday. So be sure that you tune in. That is October 6th, I want to say is what the date is. I'm pretty confident it's October 6th. Yes, October 6th. So October 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get ready. Sign of the Times album chat. Part one is going to be done next Tuesday. So let me get back. That was my rabbit hole for the moment. So let's get back. I'm up to 2:00 in the morning on Friday in Minneapolis, staying in Richfield. I think it's Richfield, Minnesota, which is really close to Mall of America. I want to say it's Richfield. Really close to Mall of America, really close to the airport. I'm only about 20-minute drive to Chanhassen to go to Paisley Park, and about a 20-minute drive to Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis. So it's right there in the middle. And I was staying at this place called 4 Points, which was kind of cool. A little bit disappointed because on the website it said it's got an indoor pool. So I brought my bathing suit. Nope, no indoor pool because of COVID. I also said it had a gym. Nope, we're not doing the gym because of COVID. There are pools, chlorine kills friggin' everything. And then on top of that, with the gym, there are gyms that are open right now. We know how to distance each other and keep away from each other if necessary. And plus on top of that, it's Minneapolis. We're eating donuts. It doesn't matter. Anyways, then they also had, they're supposed to have continental breakfast. They did not have a continental breakfast. So all I can tell you is you plan to travel to Minneapolis, by all means, avoid 4 Points Hotel because they're liars and everything that's on their website, they did not have. And I was annoyed. I was very, very annoyed. Anyways, very, very upsetting. Anyways, so stayed up 2 o'clock in the morning, listening to all those unreleased tracks, some of which I'd already heard, but there were some really cool ones. I was really surprised, like tracks like Love and Sex, because there was another song called Love and Sex that was on the 1999 Super Deluxe, totally different song, not even the same song. So I thought that was a typo when they released a track listing for Sound of the Time Super Deluxe in advance, but it's a totally different song. But anyways, it was fun to listen to all that stuff. Friday morning, I get up, obviously went to Mall of America, kind of hung out there, went around Mall of America, just enjoyed myself. And just that, I think I ate at the Sugar Factory there at the Mall of America, which was cool. They had these unbelievable shakes and insane drinks and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. And that was about the extent of it. Then I kind of came back to get ready and just kind of prep a little bit. And then, I did go to Paisley Park in advance. I went to Paisley Park before the show because I needed to pick up a tambaraca for a Funkatopian because they asked me to pick one up. So I went and I said, I don't want to mess with the crowd and I don't want to have to carry this tambaraca around I don't want to carry all the stuff around. I just don't want to carry it. So I'm just going to get it. And that way it's only a 20-minute drive. I'll go and get it and I can take all the stuff back to the hotel. Well, as you can see behind me, there is a tambaraca that I purchased as well. She got the old school one that was not the full design, the old school tambaraca that had the original design that's on the side of the Purple Rain motorcycle. I got the full design just because I like the full design better. I don't know. But I also picked up some other things too. I picked up some pins, some actual jacket pins. Here's some pins that I actually picked up. You can actually see there's a Prince head, and there's also a peace symbol. There's obviously the Prince logo from Purple Rain that's written in the Purple Rain font, and then of course the Prince symbol. It's a pin set. That's matter of fact, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/user/Funkatopians or facebook.com/Funkatopians. If you're watching the video, you know who you are. I'm wearing a Prince and Third Eye Girl shirt that I was able to pick up. Prince and Third Eye Girl. It's actually cool. Now on the back, actually is a hit and run tour from 2015. So I was actually able to snag one of those. They also had a brand new shirt. I showed it during the pre-show, but if you did not tune in during the pre-show, you probably have not seen it, but it's very, very cool. It is a brand new shirt from Sign of the Times, and people were eating it up, and they purchased it early. And a lot of people, I overheard people saying that I'm going to wear this tonight for the show. I'm going to wear this tonight for the show. I was like, all right, well, I already know there's 3 people that are going to be wearing this shirt. So I didn't wear that. Matter of fact, if you saw the video, I was dressed up. You don't really see me like that, but I actually was dressed up in a suit and whatnot. But here is the Sign of the Times shirt. Going to give you a look at it. It's got obviously this on it, which is just a picture of Prince from the Sign of the Times era. Plus on top of that, on the sleeve itself, it actually has Prince in like I guess what do they call it? Like a gold a gold lame. I don't know what they call that, but it says Prince on the sleeve, really gold and shiny. And then on the back, it actually has the Sign of the Times logo, Sign O the Times logo on the back as well. So it's really beautiful shirt. It's really, really nice, and it's available on the Paisley Park site as well. You can get it there. And there were some other things I purchased. I purchased a Sign of the Times coffee mug. It's actually not Sign of the Times. It's just got his symbol and Paisley Park mug. And I can't remember what else. Oh, and also at the event, they also gave out gifts to everybody at the event, which was Paisley Park, a peach and black Paisley Park shirt, and which I got to hang out with the one and only Mr. Craig Alexander from Prince Day, Houston. We were hanging out there, and along with my friend Nick Garcia and his wife, we were hanging out, and again, that was a guest. So fast forward, after I kind of get all the stuff, I bring it back to the hotel, drop it off, got changed, got dressed, and then went to Paisley Park. Now, you've already saw the video when I first went out there, when I was kind of prepping some of the things. But what was interesting is that when we went, they had everything. You saw most of the video. You saw there's a video that's posted on Facebook that you actually saw me walking in. And of course, we can actually, the weird thing is that this is the first time I had been to Paisley Park where they let you use your phone and the camera and everything. So I took a bunch of different pictures and video inside of Paisley Park, everything from his outfits and shoes and cars and everything, and did all this stuff. But once again, Facebook's algorithm decided that they were going to have a little bit of a field day with me. And because of the fact that they were playing Sign of the Times music over the PA, they cut the video, they cut the audio, and they actually killed the video. So as you're doing a Facebook Live video, they kill it. It's just like I was watching and I had all these people were watching the video, and then all of a sudden I start watching the number just go down. It's just like 80, 70, 60, 40, 30, 20, 25, and it was gone. It's like, oh. And then a little message popped up and said, there's copyrighted music by Warner Brothers, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, great. So then I had to go outside back into the NPG Music Club area, which is the smaller area that's outside of the soundstage, and record the second part, which is what you saw on that. And it was a lot of fun. But here was what kind of, again, to kind of build on that, what I had talked about before regarding why they were giving everything away for free to people who did not spend any money whatsoever on supporting the cause. And I always bring up Taylor Swift because she seems to have the perfect recipe for this, which is where she releases a brand new album, and then it's like 2 or 3 months later before it sees Spotify. I get it. If you don't have money and you can't afford it, I get it. I understand that. But unfortunately, for those people who can actually afford it, they should have some type of advantage on listening to the music that they purchased. And it's extensive. $160 for CDs and $300 for, it's a lot of money. That's not chicken scratch for sure. So there should be some type of advantage that a person gets when they're purchasing something that huge. And that advantage was gone because every single track was available on Spotify from Super Deluxe. Every single track was available. Or if you're going to do that, fine. Release the remastered tracks, and then maybe the 7-inch and 12-inch version, like La La La, He, the stuff that everybody's heard. Release those, and then maybe trickle out some of the unreleased tracks, piecemeal, little by little, to kind of build it up, so that people that want to hurry up, like the bingers, the Netflix binger type of folks that just want to get everything all at once, they can actually go out and just say, all right, screw it, I'm buying this. I'm buying it. And the next time they go out, they see it, they go, I'm buying it. I'm buying it. I'm buying it. Anyways, that's what it is. And Cody says Taylor's not doing that anymore. Her new project was streaming first, and then the CDs had a bonus track a few weeks later. So maybe that's what it is, though. You put the album out, and then the CD or whatever it is has a bunch of bonus material on that you have to buy it in order to get it. That's fine. So then you think, all right, so what other advantage? So that advantage is gone. So what other advantage do we have? Okay, well, we got the live DVD. All right, so the DVD is the advantage to getting the Super Deluxe. Nope. It definitely is not. Thursday night at 8 p.m. or whatever it was, not only did they have the video in full, but then on top of that, they also prefaced it with a pre-show that featured Susanna Melvoin, Dr. Fink. It was hosted by Maya Rudolph. Who else was on there? Wendy and Lisa wasn't on there. But it was just silly. It was just so every advantage that you had to get the Super Deluxe was pretty much gone from a audio visual standpoint of it, except for the book, the big book. So you had the book, I guess. So the book is the only thing that was not given out that you had to get the Super Deluxe in order to get. Everything else, it's yours for free. Take it, whatever. Here you go. And I'm okay. You can do distribution however you want, but you have to at least give some type of advantage. But the other part of this was that for people who had purchased tickets to this Paisley Park event, they wanted to see this at Paisley Park. And the way they set up Paisley Park was nice. It was a catered event. They had people walking around with like little, vegetarian meatballs and all types of different little other types of snacks and whatnot that were all veggie related and whatnot. And you could buy tickets to get drinks or Coke or whatever it is that you wanted. So that was all there. That was fine. That didn't change. And that was fine. But the fact is that we're watching a DVD, we're watching a video on a big screen that everybody in the world had already seen the night before. So that advantage was gone also. But again, I appreciated it. It was good. It was fun. But I had to feel for some of those people that, that traveled across the country and paid tickets to see this event, thinking that there was some type of exclusivity to this event. And there wasn't. There was no special guests. They had a few DJs that were there. Yes, thank you, Ann. Levi was there. There were a few DJs that were there that were okay. They were good, and they probably were really good DJs, but they were having all types of sound problems. So when they showed the video to start, first off, they showed a clip of a video that I'm going to put on Facebook at some point, and I'm sure that will get put down. But once I get done, I'm going to make sure that I put this video on Facebook, because they started it out with some type of video collage of different clips from Prince's career, but it started out with a real private moment of Prince in a dressing room talking and spraying his hair with hairspray. And it was a little bit it was kind of humorous and it was fun. And I don't know what it was or what it was about, but I think it may have had something to do with maybe the Netflix special. I don't know what it was. I don't know, but it was a very, very small piece that I had not seen before. I had seen a lot of those other clips before, but there was some things that they did that I had not seen. And of course, because we were able to have our phones, I recorded it just because I wanted to be able to get back to the hotel and watch it later. But I may post it if you guys are interested in seeing it. It was kind of cool. I mean, there's nothing like groundbreaking, but that first part was kind of funny and cool. So I don't know what that's about. So we're going to find out. But anyways, so then they play the video on the big screen, but it's in standard, I don't know what they're for. It wasn't with not widescreen. I guess not widescreen, it's standard. So it's just like you're watching a big, huge TV with these two black lines on either side. So it wasn't full screen. The sound was not loud like it was a concert thing. You would think it was like trying to reenact what was happening there. But I don't know if the sound crew that was there that night just didn't feel, it just didn't feel, something was wrong. The sound just wasn't pumping. Maybe the subs weren't working or something, but you didn't feel it. It was just like you were just watching it on a big screen and the sound was not loud. I could, lean to the side and talk, say something to Nick like, the sound could be a little bit louder, right? And say it at that town, and he would hear me. It's not like, when you're at a club and you're like, hey, the sound could be a lot better, right? It wasn't like that at all. It was just like a normal conversation. It was not, it wasn't immersive. So again, some of the advantages of being in Paisley Park with this state-of-the-art sound system, there was no advantage. There was just no advantage. So there was that. And then of course, when, the concert was great, because I don't know that I've watched that concert in its entirety. So it was cool to actually sit there and just kind of take it all in and watch it in its entirety. And it was good. It was fun. The concert was good. And it may sound like I'm railing on Paisley Park or whatever it was. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you're going to do these types of events, and this also applies to Celebration and everything else, and you're going to have the expectation that people are going to spend a lot of money, not just the money that it's going to cost to walk in the door, because you've got these Celebration events that are costing $1,500, $2,000 for people to walk in the door, to see things that they've probably already seen, hear stories they've probably already heard. And you're going to have a tour that really doesn't go anyplace else other than the areas that you've already shown us. We're not seeing the garage and the stuff downstairs. We're not seeing like the actual vault. We're not seeing, we're not seeing any of the upstairs. We're not seeing any of those things. So I think they're getting to a point where they're going to have to kind of figure out a different strategy. Now, for people who have never, ever been to a Celebration and have been, kind of hemming and hawing, my first Celebration was the most unbelievable experience I had. I walked away on cloud nine. I thoroughly enjoyed the first Celebration I ever did. But then every Celebration after that was just, especially when he wasn't there, just seemed kind of, Adriana asked, was the audience partying? Somewhere. There was probably the 100 or 100 and I don't know how many people were there. Maybe 150 people were there. Maybe about 10 or so were dancing. Maybe because it wasn't because we didn't like the music and we didn't appreciate what was going on. That wasn't it at all. That was not it at all. It was just that the sound was just so squashed that it didn't really kind of, if you have subs that are pumping you and you're like, yeah, and you're like getting up and you're wanting to like, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. You can't, you're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. Nick Garcia, my good buddy, Nick Garcia, who I was the guest of at Paisley Park, who invited me to go. Nick was there. He was talking about, when they had, who was it? Nick, who we just said that the DJ that was there. Was it Moody Man? I can't remember who it was. It was one of the DJs that was there, and the music was so pumping and so filled with energy because you have a state-of-the-art sound system. Use it. That insulation was falling from the roof. It's just that's the stuff. Insulation doesn't need to be falling off the roof, but make me feel it. Immerse me in it, especially if we're paying this type of money, not only for the ticket to walk in the door, but also for the traveling and of course, all of the merchandise, just because we feel compelled to do that, just because we're going to do it anyways, because we're huge Prince junkies. But I think you're getting to the point where you're tapping the well. And I know that there are so many Prince podcasts out here. I know everybody considers us a Prince podcast, but we're called Funkatopia, not Princetopia. But it seems like everything we do is Prince. I get it, but there's all this people that are saying, you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. You got to be, it's positive. If you can't be positive, you just need to just. I am being positive. You don't understand. It may seem like I'm bitching and moaning, but the reality of it is I'm trying to be, I'm wanting to be positive. I'm giving you constructive criticism. I'm giving you positive feedback that you can use for other events. If you're going to be having expectations for people to come into Paisley Park and to spend that kind of money going into the event, But then also on top of that, spending all that money to travel, the hotel cost, the rental car cost, the food cost, everything that we will end up buying merchandise-wise, you have to make sure that you take care of these people. Because if you do not take care of these people and give them an experience, like Prince was dedicated to the experience. When Prince was with us, he was dedicated to the experience. If Prince was sitting back there behind that soundboard on Friday night, he would have been losing his he would have been furious. Same thing with the sound, with the DJs and everything. You have to maintain the level of excellence that we've come to expect from all things Prince. That's just what we've come to expect from the mighty Prince. That's what we've come to expect. And if this is, there were some good efforts there. So let's go ahead and just be positive on some of these things. I thought that the addition, the handouts of the t-shirts was a really, really good addition. I thought the hosts were very, very cordial. Everybody seemed to be trying, but they seemed to be kind of working. The sound system just seemed to be working against them. The first DJ, she kept trying to play music and it kept cutting off in the middle. I don't know if it was a problem with her equipment or the sound equipment, but it would just be playing music and then it would just stop. Dead silence. And then the music would come back on and it'd be okay. And then it would stop. And dead silence. So if you're not going to be to the point where you're working out all of your, and again, this is nothing against that DJ. The music that she was playing was great. There wasn't a whole bunch of Sign of the Times stuff that was being highlighted like had been promoted also. It was a lot of older stuff. They were playing Kiss and Let's Go Crazy and all that stuff. I was like, that's great. But this is the Sign of the Times. Anyways, here's my scenario. You have expectations. We have expectations. This is a message to the estate. This is a message to Paisley Park. This is a message. If you're going to be doing these types of events, there has to be, the first thing is there has to be some type of exclusivity to the event. There has to be something that they're going to get as a bonus for spending all of the money that they're spending to attend, to travel, to stay, and to be in Minneapolis, to make it the most memorable thing that you possibly can imagine. That's what you have to deliver every single time. That's what you have to deliver. And I really honestly feel like I had a good time. But I kind of feel like there was a vibe missing. There was just a lot of things that were just missing. It didn't really work that well. And I'll go back to Paisley Park. I've had questions about the celebration because they're gonna have to do something different with the celebrations. And Nick Garcia and his wife and I, we were talking about this when we were at dinner. It was like, what can they do for the celebration that could be totally different that they haven't already done, that people aren't going to feel like, yeah, I've been there, done that, because they saw the attendance start dwindling. And it's like, what are you going to be able to talk about that hasn't already been talked about? What are you going to be able to discuss that hasn't already been discussed, on some show or somewhere? What story? I mean, what is that going to be? And I think, when you start doing these shows, and maybe talking a little bit bigger than probably could potentially be, getting for the celebration, getting a Michelle Ndegeocello cello in there, getting a Janelle Monáe in there, getting, Usher in there. Obviously Usher is huge, but getting those acts in there that are related to Prince. And we have not something used like massive, like a Beyonce or something like that. But if you get some huge acts, some really big acts that are heavily, heavily influenced by Prince and that love Prince and will do everything in their power to make a Prince worthy type of show that's got a lot of his materials, and they're covering some of his stuff, and they're also playing some of their own stuff and some of their own hits and things like that. Then you're going to be starting to move the needle in another direction. But, a lot of people, especially the Prince junkies like myself and everybody else, we love the revolution, but we've seen the revolution. Love Jesse Johnson. Jesse Johnson was great. I would have loved for him to have gotten more time. we've seen Morris Day and the Time. Many of us have seen NPG. Many of us have seen all these acts. So I think you kind of, the family, F Deluxe, we've had the opportunity to kind of see a lot of these acts, and I don't know where you go. I have some ideas, but I don't work for the estate, and I don't work for Paisley Park. I'm just trying to communicate what it is from a visual standpoint, how we're kind of absorbing all this. All that being said, it was a fun night. We had a good time. We still got to hang out. I also got to hang out with somebody I don't see enough of, my friend. Besides Nick Garcia, I love hanging out with Nick. Nick Garcia is great. He's also the one that makes those guitars. Matter of fact, that guitar that's hanging on my back wall over here, if you're watching, the guitar that's hanging on my back wall, he makes. He's actually the one that makes those. We've actually done some giveaways with those as well. He's an unbelievable dude, such a great guy. It's great family. It's very, very cool. I also got to hang out with Craig Alexander from Prince Day Houston. And so we got to talk shop and other things too. And Dorothy Inez. And we just hung out with everybody. And it was funny because a lot of people nobody recognized me other than Craig and Nick when I was there, which is fine by me because I don't have to there's nothing extra that I have to do when I'm there. And it's just, I can just talk and absorb and not have to worry about anything. Not that I'm some superstar or anything, but it was funny that on my last day on Sunday, on Saturday, I did a mural run. So on Saturday I went and did am I causing all kinds of, I'm causing all types of problems, all types of, I heard some buzzing. So sorry about that for the buzz, for those who are hearing that buzz. Anyways, so there's a bunch of, the mural day. So let's fast forward past Paisley Park. We know what some of the things that they've got to work around. But what's other cool thing that happened is that on Saturday, I went on a mural find. I went to the Purple Rain House, and I also went to all the different murals that I could find, the ones at Cheapo Records. I went up to Electric Fetus. I also went to all the different utility boxes that they have up and down 34th Street that are designed with Prince on them, all the murals on side of the Chanhassen Cinema, and actually have an entire list of all the places that I went to that I'm going to put into. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I'm trying to document all these things, and so that when next time you go to Minneapolis, you'll be able to hit a lot of these spots. Plus, on top of that, Electric Fetus is still giving out these brochures called Prince's Places, which is a really cool brochure that was done by, and her name is cut off, but it's done by a woman named Debbie D'Angelo. The Facebook group, the Purple Funkadelics, and they actually have an interactive map that's actually online as well, but it lists like all the places of Prince, from like the Purple Rain House to all this other stuff. It's actually really cool. I definitely want to put this online as well. It's really fun. So I was able to hit a lot of murals, and I will post those pictures as well. And then of course, Sunday I hit a couple other places. I went back to Chanhassen because I'd missed the Chanhassen Cinema mural for some reason. And then I went back for my final stop was to go into the Riley Park Tunnel, and spray paint Funkatopia inside the Riley Park Tunnel, which I then took a picture of myself, and everybody says, "You look so serious. Are you sad that you're leaving?" Actually, yeah, I was kind of sad I was leaving. Yes, absolutely. I was kind of sad. But anyways, so we're going to wrap it up for the show for tonight for the Funked Up people, for the audio folks, the ones that are happening worldwide. If you would like to switch on over to facebook.com/Funkatopia, or the YouTube channel, Funkatopia YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and unbox Sign of the Times Super Deluxe, which is not going to translate well in an audio only version. So everybody, if you want to shift over to that, please feel free to do so. Again, that's facebook.com/Funkatopia, FUNKATOPIA. Go ahead and transfer over. We're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on it, just about 15 minutes. And that's going to be the extent of it. And, then For right now, we're going to play Do Yourself a Favor, aka If You See Me, in honor of the great Pepe Willie that spent time on the show tonight. And I can't thank him enough. It was amazing. I'm so glad that he got to hang out for as long as he did, almost 2 hours that he was online with us. And that's really, really cool. Got to ask him a lot of the questions that I still had a bunch of them to go, but I could see the life just draining out of him as it was going. I was just like, maybe we're keeping him on here too long, but it was fun to actually spend some time with him. So much love to Pepe Willie. Thank you so much for joining us, Pepe. And if you missed any of that interview, we will be posting it up on YouTube over the next couple of days, along with the interview for Microwave. If you missed the Microwave interview, I'm going to be editing that one. I know I should have, it's sort of already been edited. It's already been out for a while, but it's out there, but it's not in the edited form. So I'm trying to get it in the edited form. And it's just, anyways, Do Yourself a Favor, or AKA If You See Me, which is the title of Pepe Willie's book. Make sure you go out and get it. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books. And for those of you, head on over to video, facebook.com/Funkatopia, or on the Funkatopia channel on YouTube. If you want to see me unbox this thing, it's not going to be a big shindig. Unboxing has already happened, so we're just going to take it from there. Thank you guys for tuning in on Funked Up, and we will see you guys next week. We'll be doing part 1 of Sign of the Times Super Deluxe for the unreleased tracks that nobody had ever heard. We're going to talk about the background stories on some of these tracks, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Join us next Tuesday, but the show's not over online. If you want to head online, that's perfectly fine. Do yourself a favor, and a bunch more Prince music. Talk to you soon. All right, folks. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? All right. I know we've kind of missed. I did not miss I think I did see. Denise Hilton was saying John Legend is awesome. Yes, John Legend would be amazing. We're trying to work out with him. We're trying to get John Legend on the show, actually, which is going to be a lot of fun. We'd like to spend some time. We will be talking with Melvin Riley as well at the end of October. Melvin Riley, who many of you know from Ready for the World, he is going to be on the show October 29th, I want to say is what it is. All of a couple other announcements as well. October 8th, Prince Day Houston is going to be celebrating the 40-year anniversary of Dirty Mind it's going to be with Dr. Fink. So there's going to be this PrinceDayHOU.com. That's PrinceDayHOU.com. Be sure that you head there, and any proceeds, the proceeds, I don't know, this portion or whatever, but they're going to go to PRN alumni and also Yes We Code. But it's going to be the 40-year anniversary of Dirty Mind. It's going to be done by Prince Day Houston, and you definitely want to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, also, as I mentioned before earlier, the brand new album from Bootsy Collins is going to be out. It's called The Power of the One. That comes out on October 23rd. We will be starting to push that on October 1st, but just kind of get a little bit of heads up. You can also head to The Boot Cave. That's thebootcave.com/tickets and get tickets to a live stream event where they're going to be playing a lot of the tracks live on your screen right where you're at. Plus, on top of that, you'll be able to download the album as well. And it's Bootsy Collins' brand new album. We're working in partnership with Bootsy, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope that you guys enjoyed that for sure. So, where are we? All right, I gotta find scissors or something. So here's the box. One of the things I was impressed with the box. First off, obviously it's still in the box. I don't know what it says. I don't know if you guys can see this. It says supplier Midnight Oil. I guess that's one of the companies that's working to do this. Jill, I did see your comment about Omar. I've never got a response, so in the past from him. So we'll have to talk offline. All right, so we're going to open this. I like that there's a Sign of the Times symbol on the back of this. I do like that there's a Sign of the Times symbol on the back of this box. It's pretty friggin' awesome. What's funny is that I called my daughter when she said, "Can I open it?" I was like, no. I said, because I wasn't sure if it was it or not. I said, "Is there a peace sign or something on the box?" And she's like, "No." Jaden. All right, so we're opening it. So exciting. Just kidding. Apparently it's not going to come out. I guess I did. Under the tape on both sides. All right, we can do that. It's totally necessary. Not sure if it's going to slide out or what's going to happen, but it's got to be something else that's happening here. Oh my gosh, I got to do every single piece of tape that there is. All right, so I've opened it. Here we go. You guys ready? You guys have already seen this, right? It's not exciting at all. There it is. The box is unnecessary now. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Good night. No, just kidding. This is the Super Deluxe CD. Obviously, this slides out from here. This is kind of like one of the things that's really interesting, and I don't know if you could see it or if it's going to be able to translate, but Sign of the Times is written in clear on top of this album. Originally, you thought it was on the plastics, kind of similar to Rainbow Children. With Rainbow Children, it's very, very similar. And when you take the plastic wrap off of Rainbow Children, all of the words come off. That, like the track listing on the back of it come off. That's not the case with this one. If you can look really close, and I hope you can kind of see this on here, but if you look really, really close, I'm trying to get a good angle here. You might be able to see it like right over. You might be able to see it like right over here on this side over here. If you can look really, really close, you can kind of see how Sign of the Times is written in clear. I'm trying to find like a way that I could like. You're just gonna have to trust me. Their Sign of the Times is written in like some type of clear overlay on top of this album, which is actually really cool. And it doesn't come off of the plastic. So that's the other cool thing. So I'm going to open this, but I'm not going to remove the plastic. I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to make sure that the plastic stays intact, just because I want to keep the sticker and everything on there as well. I think it's important. I saw that on Dr. Funkenberry's show that he did on Friday night, that he actually had the book. He was flipping through the book. I was not able to. Doc, sorry I didn't get to watch your whole entire show, but I don't know if he actually showcased the book at all. I know they talked about it, but I don't know if he actually held up the book or whatever. Let me see. Alicia Keys, that's a good one. April says, did you see the bronze statue? No, I did not get out to Henderson. I should have got out to Henderson. Oh, let me tell you something. So I went out to Calhoun Square, right? Calhoun Square is in downtown Minneapolis. It's like a little area that is in downtown Minneapolis. And I guess it was when you got to understand, this was like the one of the epicenters of the whole George Floyd scenario and the protests that happened through there. You know, there's the protesters who are, you know, obviously fighting for change and awareness. And then there's a shift that happens. Some people say it's a political thing where people are coming in from out of town that have nothing to do with Minneapolis or have nothing to do with anything. And those are the rioters. The ones that come in are just to incite things, set things on fire, loot stores, do whatever it is. I don't know how you set that, even if it is a political thing. How do you do that? Hey man, look, I work for the Republicans, and what I'd like to do though is I'm going to pay you $100 just so you can get some gas, and I want you to go into Minneapolis, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to take some trash cans, and I want you to break out windows, and I want you to loot some stores. Just take whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. The cops are going to be so busy. It's not. You can do that for me. That'd be great. I just don't understand, even if it's a political thing, how exactly that all transpires anyways. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just weird. Anyways, Calhoun Square. I go into Calhoun Square and there's a security guard. He goes, what are you here for? It's a shopping center, isn't it? I just wanted to walk around. It's like, you can't walk around here. It's a shopping center, right? And he goes, here's a list of stores. And he hands me a sheet of paper and he flips it around. And there's like these stores listed. He said, there's LA Fitness. There's a Chinese acupuncture place. And so he's going down the list of stores that are in Calhoun Square and says, do you want to go to one of these stores? And I said, do I want to go to one of those stores? And he says, if you want to walk around Calhoun Square, you need to go to one of these stores. And I said, fine, I'll go to that store right there. And we ended up so I had to, he had to put a little check mark next to the store, and then he walks, and then he lets me in. And then I was able to walk around Calhoun Square. There's windows busted out all in Calhoun Square. They actually had a sign of Prince's that said Calhoun Square. It had Prince's face from the artificial age era, and it had the lyrics for Calhoun Square. And then behind some glass, they also had a Purple Rain piano, the one that had the Purple Rain eyes and it's purple, and it's like an upright piano. And those were in a place where it seemed unfettered, untouched. But there were stores with broken out windows and everything was boarded up. And there's in downtown Minneapolis, there's still stores that are still recovering. There's that got boarded up stuff. And there was one sign that said, don't bother breaking in. There's nothing left to steal. And it's like it was really not, they still have not recovered from originally what had happened. And I don't know if it was an ongoing thing. I'm not from Minneapolis. I don't know how long it goes on. I know Atlanta, there's some things that kind of happen on and off, but yeah, it was just really weird vibe. It was just really, really weird. Jill says, not the Republicans, George Soros. Blessing said Calhoun Square is the name changed yet. Inside, it still said Calhoun Square, but outside that big, huge fan sign that was outside in the corner that said Calhoun Square, it's not there anymore. It's just like a desolate, empty mall. It's just desolate. It's gone. Anyways, check to see if the stickers are peel off on the plastic. Okay. They don't look like they peel off too well. Looks like they're pretty well adhered. I mean, it could be wrong, and maybe because I bite my fingernails, it's not working, but yeah, it looks like you can actually, it looks like you could take it off. So there's some, you could take it off if you're careful and slow, which I imagine is for any stickers. All right, so here we go. We're opening it up. What you're seeing right there, that is exactly what is on this here as well, but it's lightly overlaid over this cover, but you can't see it. It's just not translating on this camera, so you can't see it, but that is what's on there. So of course, there's nothing else in there. It's all empty. This is the back cover. The back cover obviously lists all the songs and whatnot that are actually on the all the CDs. So that's cool. Front of the book, very awesome. Front of the book, back of the book, Prince Sign of the Times. And of course, when you open it up in the back, you've got, I automatically went to the back. That's not the front. This is kind of where all the CDs are. It's very thick, as you can see, but then they're all the different CDs. So this is the CDs of the music itself. And I guess this is the CD that's the DVD. So that's the DVD. And then of course, there's all your CDs as well. And then of course, on the book itself, let's try to just off the side. You can kind of see the book. I'm going to flip through it a little bit. Just trying to show you some of the pictures. Some of the pictures that are in here. Maybe I can figure out some way to be able to hold this where you can kind of take advantage. A lot of different photos and whatnot. Not going to be any way I can hold this up, is there? No easy way to hold this book up at all. It's a pretty sizable book, but maybe if I push this down a little bit, the microphone's gonna be in the way of some of this, but it is what it is. But this is some of the books that are in here. And of course, there's a lot of lyrical content in here and stories and forwards and whatnot. Just a lot of different stuff in here. A lot of cool, some of the actual pictures of the reel to reel and some of that stuff. A lot of stories. My good friend Dwayne Tudall, he's got stuff in here. There's also some writing, and some Lenny Kravitz also has got some writing in here. But there's a lot of writing. Obviously, we're not going to read that together. There's a picture of like cassette tapes and whatnot, more reel to reels, and some of the pictures that's obviously very, very Dwayne Tudall right there. Some of the reel to reel stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the content were written around here as well. But a lot of cool stuff that's in here. It is a very, very gorgeous book, and it smells good too. It doesn't smell like strawberries like Emancipation CD 2, but a lot of the handwritten lyrics that are in here as well. Yeah, we found that out last week that Emancipation CD 2 smells like strawberries for some reason. I smelled it the next day, and it didn't smell like strawberries. I think he just mind screwed us, so I think that's what it is. But yeah, so this is all there's a lot of handwritten stuff, and I imagine there's lots of really cool little notes in here that are all through. And I can't wait to spend some quiet time with this, but I'm going to finish Pepe Willie's book first, and then I'm coming back. I'm moving backwards. I'm moving back to front, just by the way, just so you can kind of, I should be moving forward to back, but I'm not. But so many different things. This is a big forward, I guess, that was written by Susan Rogers. Some more beautiful pictures. Some pictures I have not seen. A lot of really cool stuff. More beautiful pictures, obviously. I'm hoping I'm not like ruining this for somebody, but this has been out for 4 days, so I don't know what to tell you. And I'm sure that some people, I'm just flipping through the book for you. So lots of really cool pictures and photos for sure. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of photos. I can't wait to spend some quiet time with these photos too. Not quiet time. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about like analyzing the photos to see what he was wearing, where he may have been, who else is on the stage with him, stuff like that. Lots of cool stuff there. It's really cool stuff. Really cool things in here. Lots of photos, tons of photos. I mean, this is like photo packed. This is actually the picture that is on that T-shirt, or not T-shirt. It's a long sleeve T-shirt that I got. I'm looking forward to wearing that too. I don't know when I'm going to wear it, but maybe at some point in time I'll be able to because when it's getting colder, it's starting to get towards fall now. When I left Minneapolis this week, they're supposed to have a low of 37 this week in Minneapolis. A low of 37. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. It's supposed to be kind of cold here in more writing, more stories. This is I think I skipped a page here. Nope, I didn't. Just really thick pages. So more stories. I don't even know. I mean, there's so many different stories here. It's a huge story here. I don't know if this is somebody specific or this is because remember, I'm going back to front. Oh, it's Andrea Swenson from The Current. So we kind of got familiar with her voice. And I don't know if anybody has heard. Has anybody heard the specials on SiriusXM? SiriusXM has got a multi-part special that they've been doing on Side of the Times, and it's really good. I mean, I like what the current was doing, but that multi-part special that they have, that is just it's got so much good information. This is by Daphne Brooks. So much stuff. And this is a conversation with Dave Chappelle. Gonna want to read that for sure. And here is a section from Lenny Kravitz, the most unique tapestry. And I'm pretty sure that probably that really extensive part was probably done by Dwayne Tudall, but that's the book. That's the book. You got to kind of see everything that's in there. I know they were flipping through. But hey, if they're going to be giving away the information, if they're going to be giving away the songs for free on Spotify and the DVD for free on YouTube, I can at least show you what's inside this book. And if you have not purchased it yet, you can kind of get an idea of what to look forward to, because it's the only piece of the puzzle that has not been given away for free. And technically, you probably could find the verbiage or the text inside of here online. Probably could find this book online too. But there you go. That's the book. And it also has Sign of the Times written on the in clear on the, you probably can't see that. You can probably see it a little bit. Sign of the Times. But it's really well put together. It's really beautiful. Again, I waited to open it. Just for you. But there's so much stuff in here. Unreal. So much verbiage in there. Anyways, thank you guys so much. And I am Andre. Then you are doing the same thing. Andre, the guy who is not going to purchase it anyways, right? You said, I'm just going to look Spotify. All right, Andre. Denise says, were Prince's ashes there when you were there at Paisley Park? The last time I was at Paisley Park, they said, yes, Prince's ashes are there still at Paisley Park, but they are no longer above that kitchen area in Paisley Park. I did not do a tour of Paisley Park when I was there. That part, only the sound stage and the MPG Music Club area was open during that event on Friday. So, but the last time I did a tour there a couple years ago, that's what they mentioned. It's no longer in that little miniature Paisley Park, whatever. It's no longer there. It was when they first started, it was in smack in the middle of the floor in that main lobby area. And they moved it from there and they moved it into this little mini replica of Paisley Park and put it above the door, above that little kitchen area there where it's got like the booths and stuff where they said, oh, he always watched all the basketball games there and stuff. But that's gone now too. His ashes are no longer in there. They are somewhere. Cammy said, I see my post that the 7-inch set is being sold on Amazon for $777.77. No. Oh my gosh. It's just ridiculous. Anyways. Yeah, everybody kept saying it was funny on the whole thing with Maya Rudolph and Susanna Melvoin and Levi and Dr. Fink. What was funny was that everybody just kept saying, oh, there's Kat. Oh, there's Kat. And it was Susanna Melvoin. And the whole line of conversation, the whole line of questioning that Maya was saying had nothing to do with really had very, very little to do with Susanna Melvoin. And I don't know if anybody got an opportunity to watch it. I was stuck in an airport and I was not going to get able to watch any of it, but my flight kept getting delayed going to Minneapolis. And so they were sitting there and it was just funny because Susanna was trying to insert herself into the conversation because she was just pretty much just sitting there smiling the whole time. And it was just weird. The whole thing was just kind of awkward. I mean, I love Susanna, but I just felt like if you're going to have Susanna on there, ask Susanna questions. That's kind of what it was. I don't know. Anyways, it's just so funny. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. What a night. What an action-packed night, right? We talked about my Minneapolis trip. Then we just got done doing a little bit of an unboxing of the Super Deluxe. I did not want to spend a whole bunch of time going through that. Because you could find it in a bunch of other different places. Plus, on top of that, we got to interview the mighty and legendary Pepe Willie, and it's been great. Again, do not forget to go to Prince Day HOU, Prince Day Houston, princedayhou.com and grab some tickets for the show that is going to be the 40th anniversary of Dirty Mind on October 8th. The album chat will be available. And what I meant to tell you earlier, it's the 6-year anniversary of Artificial Age and Plectrum Electrum tomorrow. And I've already unlocked the album chat for Artificial Age. If you've never heard the album chat for Artificial Age, it is unlocked right now. As you guys know, most of the album chats are behind the Patreon wall, and you cannot hear the album chats anymore unless you are a Patreon supporter. But we can make certain files public as time promotes itself. I don't know. Anyways, tomorrow is the 6-year anniversary, believe it or not, the 6th anniversary of Artificial Age and Plectrum Electrum. We have not done an album chat for Plectrum Electrum, but for Artificial Age, I unlocked that one. So if you want to listen to that album chat in honor of tomorrow, absolutely do it. It's available for you right now. Matter of fact, not going to make the announcement for another hour on Facebook, but it is available right now. You can get the jump on it. It's the album chat for Artificial Age, where I go over all the tracks and talk about the background history. And as mentioned, next week, we will be doing the album chat for Sound of the Times Super Deluxe. We're going to start talking about part 1 of, 3, 4, I don't know how many this is going to take, of the unreleased tracks that are on Super Deluxe. And we're going to start the first one tomorrow, next week, Tuesday. So please tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, Jill, thank you. Prince Day HOU. So it's Prince Day Houston, Prince Day HOU. And again, huge shout out to Pepe Willie and for spending so much time. I will make sure that we get this edited down. But if you miss any part of the interview, as soon as I'm done, you can pretty much watch it on Facebook and YouTube as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Good night, everyone. Oh, and this whole Prince thing, that all 24/7 Prince that you've been enjoying, unfortunately, it ends tomorrow at noon. So go ahead and absorb yourself and get it all in, because it's going to be a lot of fun. And I've added about 24 new songs to that mix too. So it's going to be fun. Just Eddie, yes, the Maserati album chat. I did tell you I wanted to do a Maserati album chat. I am working with Brown Mark. And so we're going to do a Maserati album chat, but I'm going to do it with Brown Mark. So that's why I decided to do the Sign of the Times one first, because I want Brown Mark to be involved in the album chat, because there's not a whole bunch of readily available information on the Maserati songs other than a few of them. So we need somebody in the mix that's going to be able to give us some background stories on some of the songs and whatnot. And I'll do my digging, and if I can come up with other things, it's going to be great. But we want to work with Brown Mark for the Maserati. And on top of that, the other reason why I decided to sit on it was because let me see where's my phone at? Brown Mark actually sent me a text, and I don't know if I shared it with you, but I will show it to you. This is the other reason why. He said, I said, hey, Mark, it's Chris from Funkatopia. The interview was gangbuster. Everyone loved. Come follow us. Will there be reissues of Maserati albums? And will there also, more importantly, be reissues of your first and second solo albums as well? He said, yes, I'm working on it. I've been swamped with so many other things. I haven't had time to remaster it. Soon. So that means there is a reissue coming out of Maserati, which may be an expanded edition of that album. Not only that, but also his first couple solo albums too, which are amazing, by the way. Totally got ignored. But that all being said, there is a reissue of Maserati coming out. And so I want to make sure that Brown Mark is involved in this process. And I want to do it in kind of combination and concert with whatever he's got going on. So I was a little bit quick on the draw saying, yeah, we're going to do that next. Because I just talked, I just remember that Mark said it's going to be reissued, and we got to do it right. And it would be awesome to have him on board sharing stories. So, Casey Terry would be fun too. So lots of cool stuff. And next week, can I explain Dorothy Parker's song? I've explained Dorothy Parker's song on the Sign of the Times album chat. I may make the Sign of the Times album chat available next week. Whenever I do the Sign of the Times album chat for Super Deluxe, I may unlock the Sign of the Times album chat so you guys can listen to that as well. It's going to be awesome. So just letting you know. Good night, everyone. Thank you again for another amazing night. And hopefully tomorrow, why am I so stuck on tomorrow? Next week is going to be a lot of fun. Good night, everyone. We're going to go to call it a night for right now, right? We'll talk to you soon. Adios. Denise says, when will Brown Mark's album be available for purchase? We don't know yet. He's still working on it. As soon as he is done, I'm sure he will let me know. Good night. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for another great night. It's been awesome. Bye. Get some sleep. Get some rest. You got to go and DVR and watch that stupid friggin' presidential debate now. I did not DVR it. I don't really give a I really don't. Good night.